Good morning and a happy Monday morning to everyone in the chat today. So good to have you with me for what may be the final day of Disco Elysium. I'm not sure, but friends, viewers who have played the game in the past have said that we're coming upon the end or nearing the end of Disco Elysium. So if that's the case, well, then this is the last broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. I sure have. What a trippy game. And we're back in for the final episode. Now, I haven't decided what I want to do if we end up finishing the game about halfway through the broadcast. I could use that time to work on my lore video for the weekend, which is well on its way. I got a lot of work done over the weekend on it. I practically got all of the audio edited, which means I just need to sit down and knock out the video. It's going to be over an hour and a half long. It's a deep dive into Vault 94, and it genuinely is an awful but very interesting story. What Vault-Tec did to the residents of Vault 94 is just, well, it's what Vault-Tec tends to do, right? So I can't wait to share that with you. So I could do that, or I could pick up with Red Dead Redemption 2, because there were a few towns in Red Dead Redemption 2 that we didn't get to explore because we finished the primary plot and I wanted to move on to another game. So I haven't decided what I want to do. We'll see how I feel by the time we get there. It's long. It's a deep dive into Vault 94. Okay, so looks like I'm live on Facebook. That's great. Let's check out YouTube. And we're live on YouTube as well. Good to see everybody on Facebook. Matthew, Jocelyn, Amy, and Lewis. And of course, it's wonderful to see the regulars, the members, the Patreon subscribers. Corey, good to see you. On YouTube. John DeGiambaradino, Gemma Averilo with that awesome gold derby. Slidey Bardfast, Quinn Tyus, Arl Altgrindle, Brett Bus, Don Quainton, Von de Bergen, Automatic Beats, Sean Fornango, Lane Berry, Barry LeCount, Courtney Zangas, Knight Paladin, Eleanor, Brian Nelson, Sarge Gaming, Von de Bergen, Sean Fornango, Deuteronomus. Welcome new member, The Real Rob. Good to have you on the program today, my friend. Douglas Delegard, the first super chat in the chat today. As always, he's the first on the program to do a super chat. Says Oxhorn hello and hello all in chat. Hello there, Douglas. So good to see you. And it's good to see Julian Z with his gold derby in the chat as well. I hope you're ready. The last live stream of Disco Elysium, or so I've been told. Our favorite superstar cop, his story is wrapping up. How will it end? I don't know. I didn't look up spoilers, so I'm not sure. And I wonder exactly how the story changes based on our in-game choices. The biggest choice that I've made that I'm really kind of nervous about is Joyce. I mean, she's gone. She left on her yacht. And we kind of told her to not interfere. So I guess I'm glad that she's not going to come in with a bunch of soldiers or anything, and there won't be widespread warfare, but I worry about Revachol. Vladimir says, hi, Oxhorn, hello, chat. Kuno is a cooler sidekick, but with Kim, you'll get redacted of redacted. Well, thank you for avoiding spoilers, my friend. I like Kuno, despite his filthy mouth. It would be really interesting to play the game with him as a companion. But Kim is just the best companion ever. I love Kim. He's got a sense of humor. He really does. So he's probably one of my favorite companions. All right, everybody, let's light up and dive in. Douglas Delegard says, I'm going to miss this game. Well, so will I. So will I. But we've got a lot more to look forward to. I heard over the weekend, apparently, Cyberpunk 2077 does have a nudity filter, which means we can turn nudity off, We can turn copyrighted music off. That's everything a streamer needs, which means I will be able to live stream Cyberpunk 2077. Yay! Really, the only other thing that they can add is to turn gore off, like to have a meter to turn gore all the way down. Because if anything, honestly, the thing that YouTube is dinging me on more than anything these days is gore and violence. In like Fallout 3 of all games. My Fallout 3 lore videos have been the most demonetized videos by YouTube due to the violence and gore. The cartoony, ridiculous violence and gore. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't really been demonetized. I've been streaming The Witcher 3, every Friday, and I've got that mod installed that removes all nudity from the game. So even though there are some rather sensuous elements of the game, I haven't been demonetized by YouTube for it because I filtered out all nudity. So I feel pretty confident about that now that we know there's going to be a nudity filter. Really, I guess I'm just concerned about the gore at this point. If it's over the top violent, then I might stumble upon some problems with YouTube there. So hopefully they'll have foreseen that and we'll have some sort of violence filter. I know Fallout 3 had one back when it was released. So, you know, we got a lot to look forward to. That and Steel Dawn coming in on December 1st. I finally took a look at the trailer for Steel Dawn. It's looking great. I took a look at the Fallout Brotherhood of Steel lore video that they released in preparation for Steel Dawn. It was well done too. It's all information that I covered in my video on the Brotherhood of Steel, but it was a much more condensed version of it, like 8 minutes instead of over an hour. Like, I tend to be in depth, right? I cover everything. But this video that Bethesda released, it's more pithy, right? It's about 8 minutes long. A great little video, and I'm glad they released it, and I hope they do more videos like it. But they're really getting people ready for Steel Dawn, and I'm getting excited for Steel Dawn. I can't wait for it, and I will be streaming it live here on the program. When it comes to Steel Dawn and Cyberpunk 2077, we will take a break from whatever our regular schedule is at that time, and dedicate maybe about a week to each game exclusively, just to really, you know, immerse ourselves in that world and understand both games. So that's the plan there. Toxic Sean says, morning Oxhorn superstar. Thank you, Toxic Sean. And good morning to you. Michael Moske with a brand new derby. Let's see, with the blue derby band and a gold or a silver star. Looking good on you, Michael Moske. Lunar Knox says, good afternoon from Nebraska. Hope you're all staying safe and warm today. Doing our best. Things are getting cold. It's just it's an awful time to be stepping outside your door these days. I think all of our plans for the holidays are being revised due to COVID-19. I know my family's Thanksgiving plans have been pretty much scrapped. What we were planning, you know, I have family that lives in Seattle, in the Washington area, but they live in different parts, like far away. Like there are a few islands out there in the archipelago of the Puget Sound, and you know, I don't see them as often as I would like to. So usually on Thanksgiving, we all get together. But we're canceling all of that, you know, because it's just dangerous, and we have some elderly members of our family that are more susceptible to the virus, and we just want everyone to be safe. So I'm going to be doing my core nuclear family and then my brother's core nuclear family. And I see my brother almost every weekend anyway, and we both, socially isolate pretty much. Like me, like this is my job. I don't go anywhere. Like I work here, and I do all my shopping online and have it delivered, so I have no reason to ever leave this house now. So I'm pretty good at socially distancing. So I think we're going to have a pretty safe Thanksgiving, but it's still really hard, you know, to miss all of the family. So many people that I haven't seen in almost a year now. God. But we got to do what we got to do to get through it, and we will get through it. Vladimir says, everything should be okay. You mostly do everything right. Missed some lore chunks. Didn't speak with Everard as much as you could have, but it's not required. Okay, Vladimir. Well, thanks for the update there. I didn't like Everard. He was just a sleazy guy. A sleazy guy. The Real Rob says, hey, Oxhorn, I know you have a jam-packed list of game recommendations, but are you planning on doing Resident Evil 3 after Resident Evil 2? Either way, keep being awesome. Maybe. I'll take a look at some of the other Resident Evils. I have to say, there is one game that really captured my imagination. It's called A Plague's Tale: Innocence. I played about 30 minutes of it, and I wanted to play more. That's always a good sign, and I do that before I ever play or stream a game on the program. If I get 30 minutes into it and I'm itching to play more, I usually put it into my rotation. And there are games where I've played a good 30 minutes, and I just didn't want to do any more. Mass Effect Andromeda was one of those. Deus Ex was another one of those. I just wasn't interested. But A Plague's Tale: Innocence really I wanted to play more. It's not like a hugely popular game, though. So from a business perspective, I need to figure out if it's something that's going to be good for my channel. But on a personal level, I'm really interested in it. So anyway, we'll see. I do like Resident Evil so far. I loved Resident Evil 7 and 2. So maybe we'll tackle some of the other Resident Evil games. I know that people have been asking for Silent Hill as well. And I remember playing the original Silent Hill back in the 90s. Maybe we'll tackle Silent Hill. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We'll figure it out. Good news. There is a gore filter, says Brian Sanchez. Oh, that's great. Everything I need to really make this a profitable live stream of Cyberpunk 2077. Thank you for that, Brian. The Easy Life says, hello to you, Oxhorn, and to everyone in the chat today. Hello there, The Easy Life. So good to see you. Congratulations again, and I'm glad you made it back to the program. Jocelyn on Facebook says, gonna miss the Superstar Cup once you're done, but you're always our Superstar lore guy. Well, Jocelyn, that's extremely kind, and never fear, I'm not going anywhere. Plenty more to come. Alt Grendel says, hey, Oxhorn, you have lag in and out, if that makes sense, like a second here and there. Yeah, I am seeing a red icon on my stream settings. I can only hope that it fixes itself over time. Yeah, this has been a problem with my my ISP, so I'm going to have to give him a call after my broadcast today. Thanks for letting me know, Alt Grendel. Michael Mosky says, one day I will have the Gold Derby. It'll come, my friend. Just stick around. It'll come. All right. Weird Beard says, I just beat A Plague Tale: Innocence this morning, and I highly recommend it. 15 to 20 hours, and as an ancient and classical history student / scholar myself, it's wonderful. Well, I was an ancient history major in college, so I'd probably really enjoy it. Maybe I should just do that to replace Disco Elysium instead of having it in for scotch and smoke rings. Yeah, definitely lagging here and there, says Jeff Upton. Yeah, it's not you guys, it's me. I'm taking a look at my broadcaster settings, and I've got a big red button over here, which is telling me that my internet service provider is not giving me the bandwidth I need for the broadcast. So it's not YouTube, it's not you, it is me. So I'm going to have to call my ISP after the broadcast. But at least those who replay the live stream are going to be able to do so without any lag and interference. And at least we can get through it. So let's do our best today. Gemma says, happy Doctor Who Day, Oxhorn. Is today Doctor Who Day? November 23rd? Is November 23rd a Doctor Who Day? I've watched a bit of Doctor Who, but it has been a few years. So I don't know enough to be able to understand if it's truly a Doctor Who Day. Neil says, do you plan on streaming Thanksgiving night? No, I am going to have to cancel my broadcast for Thursday, Scotch and Smoke Rings on Thursday, as it's Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to have to cancel it, so just letting everybody know ahead of time. No broadcast on Thanksgiving. But I still hope everyone has a great Turkey Day. So, we were exploring this island, and we found somebody up here at a campfire who had a gun. Let's get some answers. An old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. Well, many options we'll start with. So, are you the fire guy?
The what now? I can't hear you.
Did you recently tell 2 kids to put out their fire? 2 twins?
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around trying to give up the position.
The position? Sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy, regressive bourgeoisie henchman, can't even talk like a grown-up.
You've retained your eyesight.
My eyesight, yes, helps me see all this shit.
A shudder of disgust passes his right side. His left side remains motionless. So did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
I fueled the generator. Then I used the console.
I should have burned that console down.
And he shakes his head. How did you know I was coming?
Reactionary rock and roll music playing on the water.
Is that the music that we were playing from the church? Where we finally did our disco at Disco Elysium?
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
Oh, Kim. Well, but you didn't say that, Kim.
I did.
We have entered a world where he said you shouldn't. It is the only world. It was not rock and roll, it was sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness, a weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip, gyrating mental illness music.
Wow. Let's see, let's go through the other dialogue options.
I did. Reactionary.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
It was not reactionary. It was cool.
The fascists were right about rock and roll.
Oh, and it goes back into the same thing.
It is degenerate, hip, gyrating mental illness music.
MeWe is in the chat today and says, shout out to my mother, who will be 64 on Wednesday. Also, how are you doing today? Well, major congrats to your mother. Early happy birthday to her. I'm doing really well. I'm enjoying my Disco Elysium Monday, and I'm going to miss it, I have to say. Well, nice gun you got there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. Gets the job done.
Is that a Bell McGrive?
It's a Dragon 446.
Oh, so wrong gun.
A Samaran rifle? How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Xinyao commune. Military aid.
He pats the rifle. It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sting. The Xinyao commune?
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk wiped from a board.
His gaze turns inward. Your weapon has stayed true to you. Mine has stayed true to me, too. And we can put our hand on our belt.
Yes, I bet you killed a lot of people with it, you fascist fuck. Have you come to make me one of them?
His grip on the rifle tightens. His right eye twitches. With what? Fear? Rage?
We have come to ask you questions, nothing more.
The lieutenant puts his hand on his holster.
If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
Another spitball lands in the ashes. That's all the answer he gives. The danger levels here are hard to read. One moment he is afire, the next, a fire gone out. We have two options to proceed. Sir, I need you to put down that gun so we can talk further. We are with the police. Or I'm with the police. You can keep the gun, but keep it down. Not one move. Okay, he seems to be a man who loves his gun, even though he thinks it's a piece of crap. We need to get something out of him, and I feel like if we tell him to put his gun down, we take all of the power away from him, which is going to make him less likely to talk with us. So, by asking him to put the gun down, I think we actually conflagrate the situation. So instead, we'll tell him that he can keep it, he just needs to lower it.
No.
Kim! What are you doing? He just pointed his gun at the guy. The lieutenant aims his pistol square at the man's head and says,
Put it down now, sir.
Or you're going to blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
The old man lays the rifle down carelessly, then looks at it lying there, like an amputated limb in the sand. Jeez, Kim, what the heck? I did not expect that from him. I expected him to be more calm, cool, and collected, but I mean, he's got a huge rifle. We're two men with pistols. We can much more easily, do close quarters combat. He would have to do this awkward pistol or rifle thing. We can pick up the gun lying in the sand. His gaze follows our motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in our hand, framed stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. We can inspect it closer. The rifle's in shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, we see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Trion Gong 4.46 millimeter, made in Xinyao. It is, as he said, it's a Trion Gong, made in Xinyao. And Kim says, no one said it had to be a Bell Magrive. The lieutenant does not take his eyes off of the old man. We were just guessing. From ballistics, it could easily have been a Trion Gong too. It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition, and it does. Indeed, we can say it uses jacketed ammunition, 4.46, the right type and the right caliber. The lieutenant nods, glancing at the gun. He's liking this. We can stow the gun. The old man keeps following our motions with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It can be used against him to get a confession in time. Who are you? We can say. My name? He looks across the water, then back at us. Is Yosef Lilanovich. Yosef Lilanovich Gross, political commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender. His eyes turn to reeds again, dead and dull. The Commune of Revachol, says Kim. The lieutenant forgets to close his mouth. Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the Army of the Revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Aérien, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the Commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties. How long have you been on this island, we can say? 43 years. No, he looks into the fire. A wisp of smoke rises from somewhere between the charred logs. I've been on other islands too. I was on Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was on E48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was, he thinks, 22 years ago. Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years? 43 years and 10 months, he says. That's insane, we can say. It's not how a human being should live, but I had to, he says. He grimaces, clearly in pain. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw. He just couldn't. You couldn't give up? And he nods. But he can give up now. What have you been doing during all of this time, says Kim. Hiding, he says. Fishing, waiting. He looks across the water. Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Gilazine, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. Two police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite Officer Jean Vickemer inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Burnt because we burnt them. Patrol Officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side. Always waiting. The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what? We can ask. For her to return. Her? Whom? Says Kim. Girl-child revolution. Right, for those of you who are having stream issues, if there is an interruption, I suggest scrubbing back on the timeline about 10 minutes. You'll watch what was broadcast uninterrupted until you get back to this point. I understand that's not ideal, but there's nothing I can do about it right now aside from ending the broadcast and calling my internet service provider, which I don't think any of us want, right? Yeah, sorry about that. But the replay will be live on YouTube, uninterrupted, when we're all done. Jocelyn says, gonna miss the Superstar Cup once you're done, but you're always our Superstar lore guy. Thank you, Jocelyn. I appreciate it. Oh, interesting. We can... She calls the revolution girl-child revolution. We have a lot of options to talk about the city, but what I think our Superstar Cop would say, from his personal experience, is that women will always betray you. Women are more susceptible to bourgeoisie morals, He blinks his black eyes. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do. What has he done? Perhaps a confession will lighten the load. What have you done then? And Kim says, yes, what? To get things going again, the lieutenant steps closer. Fan the flame. There is no flame to fan, says the man. He stares right through him, blinking his dark eyes. There is nothing left of the world, of our dreams. You said you deserted your unit. I was just 16 years old. 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. He clears his throat. And of courage, too. A lapse of faith? You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took. For what, we can ask? For reaction to take hold. And what was this reaction exactly? May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. He looks north. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds, storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic. Dark magic, we can say? The combined might of international capital, all at once. All the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower. He gestures towards it. Huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in ozone, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned to ash. So I said I was going to the map room, and he looks east. A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it, the shame and smallness of what he became. But you didn't go to the map room, did you? No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened of the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring, the-thick. He looks at the sky. What was that? Airships. I climbed out. He closes his eyes. Into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged, too. Shattered. Toxic Sean says, hey, Ox, your reading is done so well. Story-like. Well, thank you, Toxic Sean. I do what I can. They'd all drowned in the lower levels or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. He opens his eyes and stares right through you. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality. Seen what, we can say? The masks of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone. Everything you love, all the hope and tenderness in the world, it has to take it off, just for 1 second, to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death, the sweetest, most courageous people in the world. He's silent for a second. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know. What? That the bourgeoisie are not human. We can say nothing and let him finish. I had to fight it. I had to never stop. The old man fell silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks to some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. Well, what is this place? This island, we can say. Durag in the chat says, morning Ox, morning Durag, and Dumpy Koala with a tip. Thank you very much, Dumpy Koala. It's not an island, Dwight. He looks around. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol, and I am its last surviving defender. What was it used for? The congenitally deformed king, Philip II, built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with AA guns to defend against the airborne landing against the whole world. You mean the landing? Retaking of Revachol? Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow, and he winces. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Kalu alone. Well, I suppose we can say first, I'm not one of them. And he says, sure you are. You're RCM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people death blow? The coalition military, I suppose we can say. And he shakes his head and says, Iblis. Iblis? The black-eyed angel. And he nods. How have you survived all of this time? How does anyone survive, he says. He looks at his worn running shoes. I steal. Now hold on there, says Rhetoric. Oh, so we could say, well, that's a choice. You could have become self-employed. Create the system. All right. Well, what do you steal, we could say? Supplies, vegetables, he winces. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being. He coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly. How is your health, Mr. Dross? I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot, then passing it in stool, too. He does seem frail, gaunt for his age, more like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer. The RCM can provide medical services, says Kim. You need to be looked over. I need to die, says the deserter. A droll smile stretches across his mouth. You don't have medical facilities, you have guns. That's all they give you, toy guns. And it begins to snow. Vladimir says, whatever you do, don't tell him that a certain memorable character is dead. It will end dialogue, and you'll be forced to miss some options or redo it all again. Oh, okay, well, thank you for the heads up, Vladimir. I mean, I'm streaming between 6,000 and 9,000 kilobytes per second right now, according to my streaming service. So that shouldn't put me in the red. I don't know. We also have druamine, says electrochemistry. We have druamine, we can say, and other opioid painkillers. You must be in pain. A light goes on in his eyes. He smacks his dry lips. I have been running out of that stuff. There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now. You like that druamine, don't you, we can say. It's the little joys, he says. A crooked smile appears on his face. A dark joke. A sunshiny day. Morphine. This is a serious situation, we can say. You need to be looked over, and we can do it. There's nothing to look over, he says. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund. How have you coped mentally, we could say? I haven't. I have holes in my brain, years missing, others filled with pain only. A decade of... And his eyes roll into his skull and back. I don't even know what. Inferno? We notice the lieutenant is about to say something, but I'd like... we can also say... We can nod appreciatively and say, I also live in hell. At least you know it, says the deserter. He nods towards Martinez. The traders of this city turned the lights back on in the 30s after the fighting stopped. Ruins glittering in the dark like a stinking merry-go-round. It's disgusting. He looks down at his shoes, his face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere. Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on? I mean, they had to. It's not like they had a choice. They can't just roll over and die. Let's see what Kim would have said. We notice the lieutenant is about to say something. And he says, I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult mentally to live in isolation. Traitors, says the deserter. It's better alone. He nods towards Martinez. I watched the people of the city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a stinking merry-go-round. So it brings us back in. It's disgusting. He looks down at his shoes, his face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere. How have you concealed yourself all of these years, we can say? It was hard to do in the 10s, he shakes his head. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. He closes his eyes. Floodlights on the water at night. There were posters, campaigns. We communards still hoped. And they needed to snuff out that hope. The East capitulated. Martinez and Coal City were turned to dust. He looked south, but Jamrock, Faubourg, and even Couron, and Boogie Street, of course, those stinking kibbutz, had Mazov coursing through their veins. And others, too. Some cordons of Revachol were still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. He shakes his head. Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead. How did you get between here and the mainland, we can ask? At night, I used a dinghy. He nods towards the deflated tire in the reeds. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols. You lot. The commons, too. They'd started snitching. In the city you move underground, says Kim. From bunker to bunker, he says, and he nods. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together across the water. Well, why don't you just walk there, we can say. I don't want to, he says. They're all traitors, pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals. He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, and laughing. The weapon cache under St. Gilosine 22B, we can point to it, in the basement. Have you been there? And he looks at us, then pulls the raincoat tighter around his neck. So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Belle Margraves, right? They were damaged beyond use, we can say. I know, says the deserter. So you have been there, says Kim. Sleeping, and he coughs. Some nights, ammo scrounging on others. Those Margraves were crap even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however. You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across. There's a small bunker under the Feld building. Have you stayed there? The propaganda bunker, he says, and he coughs. I used to, but not anymore. Propaganda bunker, says Kim. They stored leaflets there, broadcasting equipment too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. Killed themselves? A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. He stares at the ruins of the filled building. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins on the ground. One more question. Do you smoke Tio Maturi cigarettes? I do, and he coughs. Ever smoke them on the mainland? And we can point to Land's End. They're good, he nods. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century. Tell me another thing, we can say. You said this is your termless surrender. You're with the RCM, he waves in your general direction. The coalition appointed mob that enforces bourgeoisie morals in Revachol. I have secret plans to turn the RCM into a Mazovian revolutionary unit. Maybe we can say, look, we're not coalition appointed. We just try to help people. And he stares at us coldly. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, Le Parti Communiste de Insulinde. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity. His hand shakes, and he breaks into a coughing fit. A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. René, the royalist on the coast, said. The communards signed the Revacholian instrument of surrender. Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. He draws his breath. I answer to the Communist Party. Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender, says Kim. He just wipes the blood from his chin. That's insane, we can say. You're insane. And he stares into the fire pit. Radio shows, speed racing, sporting goods. None of it's real. So you're a communist soldier from the Communist Army? No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps. Trained, he nods, in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something. Wait, what does a political commissar do? And the old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. We see a small tremor pass through his legs. Miwi says, I think everyone here that are watching is in the USA needs pre-Thanksgiving hugs, so have some from me. Well, I think we're all going to be needing hugs on Thanksgiving, as many of us will be missing our family whom we won't be able to see. So thank you very much, Miwi. I do appreciate it, as do we all. The lieutenant speaks softly. His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the commune. Scientific communism. The tracksuit-clad old man is suddenly reanimated. A commissar politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution, a future human. He was like a cleric, a shepherd. So, you were like a priest? No, and he shakes his head. The opposite of that. A future human. Not a human of the past. So what, that means you're a trained communist, right? And he nods slowly. Then another tremor. We can point to ourselves and say, I'm a moralist. No, you're not, he says. You're part of the meat shield. He squints. The human shield that surrounds the fascists while they kill and rape. That's what you are. Detective, says Kim. The lieutenant gives you a stern look. We have not come here to discuss ideology. He then turns to the old man. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation. The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body. The expression on his face is unreadable. There's some sort of interface there. Neurological? There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism, or even cancer. I have another, more serious question for you. And he says there is nothing serious in the world. He looks at the gun in our hands. It's a farce. Well, we gain a couple of points from information we learned during our conversation. So let's go through this conversation before we try to pass our composure check. What have you been using this gun for, we can ask. I've used it for killing people, he says. Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too. Killing people, says Ken. It's a gun, he says. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property? I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people. Interesting, says Kim. The lieutenant nods. During or after the war? There is no after the war. He shakes his head and smiles, his teeth rotten black. Class war is never over. So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. Let's be straight. Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Krenel? The who now, he says, and he leans in and cups his ear. He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it. You're in. This is probably going to get him to admit it, even if we may not believe it. Or maybe we do. The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March 4th. Oh yes, that one. He looks up at the sky and clacks his tongue. Ugly piece of work, that boy. Did you kill him? The lieutenant takes a sudden step towards him. I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Ravishing. He spits a big one at the lieutenant's feet. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime. Exhausted proof. Pile it on him. Get a confession. The gun, the murder weapon. It's the perfect opener. The scent of blood is in the air, but what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks? Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first. Well, we don't need your cooperation. We've got this, and we can lift the gun. Heh, says the deserter. And Kim says, not a lot of guns that use military-grade ammunition, are there? It's a real gun, says the deserter, and he points to the lieutenant's holster. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those, jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons, huh? He chortles. You're going against automatic rifles with a flame bomb? Of course you got all the boys killed. Yeah, he saw us. He watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw us. Okay, so what? Don't let it divert you. Stop changing the subject, we can say. We have the murder weapon, and we can point to it. You know what, says Kim? The lieutenant looks at the weapon demonstratively. You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? And, well, I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon. Good, says Kim. The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line. This feels good, doesn't it? Tying things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer. Murder, says the deserter. The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more, like a marionette on some invisible string. This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more. Toxic Sean says, hey Ox, good news. Wife and I become landowners. Landowners today. Hey, congratulations on owning your first piece of property. It's a wonderful feeling. It's an achievement of some people's lifetimes. So congratulations, my friend. Well, we can say we've done the ballistics, and we can point to the tower. The shot came from this island. I saw you poking around there looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead faces. Dead Vasquez? A jitter passes him. Did you like the view? You had direct visibility, says Kim. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for top quality use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. The lieutenant softens his voice. You've been here a long time, Mr. Gross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid. I'm ready to die. The man interrupts him, then coughs. I've done my part. He's practically admitting to it. Dead Vasquez for fascist, done his part. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope. Ooh. Interesting. Okay. Pardon me. Well, we can push him on that. One thing we can say, where's the scope? How did you make the shot without a scope? Forget about your stupid stinking scope, he says. I don't know where it is. Find it yourself. It's your problem now. Huh. Does that mean there was a scope we could have found? You said Vasquez. You're admitting you killed him? And he says, you're sad for your Fosca brother, aren't you? One twig got broken, now the others are sad. He waves his hand. There's a twitch, then one more in his right eye. Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything. You're a communist. I talked to the dead man. He told me communism killed him. Stupid droid. And he scoffs. The lieutenant looks at us with worry in his eyes. Not this, he seems to say. Anything but this. Well, what are we going to do here? Kim clearly doesn't like this line of conversation. Do we say that it was a seance? Do we say we have paranatural abilities? Or do we say that it's intuition? They're all ridiculous. Let's go with number 1. No. No, let's go with number 2. You screwed with the wrong police officer. I have paranatural abilities. Here, actually, let me move my camera so it's not blocking some of the text at the bottom. Sean Fornengo says, Commissar, do your duty and shoot them. Thank you, Sean. Nature does not behave in a paranatural manner. And he scoffs. Aberrant bourgeoisie musings, magic Earl creatures, and esoteric sensations. It's all crypto-fascism. Your brain is rotting from the radio waves. And he looks at the air, then turns to the lieutenant. Kim doesn't answer the provocation. It does not look like he thinks this approach worked. Yeah, this just did nothing. But still, somehow you knew it was a communist. It's true, we did. We learned all the way back then that communism killed him. How? We can question. And Inland Empire tells us that perhaps we suspected it before we took the case. But this did nothing, we can say. Well, was it supposed to? I will look deeper then. The inland sea is dark, vast, and on the surface meaningless. Well then, is this the miracle? No. The miracle is still waiting. This is the darkness. But aren't I way out in the west? You are. Soon it will happen, and we can turn back to him. Standing there, slack-jawed, the old man shakes his head, brain festering. Come on, what am I forgetting? And we can hit ourselves on the side of the head. Wait, here it comes. The doggone Maybells. They dried Maybells on Claus J's roof. Oh yes, we can say. There were Maybells in the grass when we got here. And Maybells on Claus J's balcony. Sorry, 1 second. Were there Maybells? I don't recall seeing that. And nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Claus J's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up. Of course. Thank you, Head. Thank you, we can say. You got it, says Reaction Speed. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal. Maybells. Behind the victim's window. I saw them growing here, and we can point to them. Damn Maybells, says the deserter. He looks at the blossoming field. The whole island is turning white with them. He seems tender, suddenly, nostalgic even. A strange mood swing. So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away. I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinez. Only here, we can say. They blossom on the islets before. We fertilized them with our blood. He looks into the water. Resurrection was snow white in May before they ruined it. South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green with white flowers in white snow. The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeoisie children to play with. You must get around a lot, says Kim, to stay undetected all of these years. The lieutenant's voice is soft, friendly. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops, perhaps? I may. A curious tremor passes his face. You know a young woman named Claus-J? A young woman named Claus-J. Ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window. Claus-J, says the deserter. He repeats the name with care, as if it were at risk of breaking. You like the name, don't you? she had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary. With the victim. He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch, a spasm. There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile, yet it isn't quite voluntary. He is about to burst. Don't leave any of those loose ends. Get him on everything. You know, I wonder what brand of boots you're wearing, we can ask. Tom says, is it possible Oxhorn can adjust his mic volume? My mic volume is maxed, but my game volume is slightly louder than usual, so I'll turn that down just a bit. Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa, he looks at his running shoes covered in mud. Some crap. Show me the soles, please, Mr. Dross, says Kim. Stinking imbecile. The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out old running shoes on his feet. The marker is called surreal, and the size is 42 to 44. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size. The size fits, says Kim, but not the sole. The lieutenant comes to the same conclusion. Well, we could try to pass a drama check. It says, wait, maybe it's simpler than that. Hey, sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now. That's true. People change shoes. It doesn't mean you weren't there near the room the victim died in. You weren't there near the room the victim died in, sneaking around. Racking those brains, are you? Says the deserter, and he squints at us, black pearls gleaming with hatred, desperate to report something back to your masters. They must have really loved that dead jerk. The lieutenant gives us a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent, suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. He suddenly jerks to life. You know who he was? A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer, dripping with blood. Well, from everything we've learned, we can say he was a rapist. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. Beating us to the ground, he continues, moaning with joy. He breathes in with strange animation. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. He looks you dead in the eyes, pupils shaking. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds. He breathes through flared nostrils. This is it. Shot him. Say shot him and not killed him. So you shot him. Oh, the inhumanity. He closes his black eyes. One paramilitary less in Revachol. You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger. The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush us. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath. We also can hold our breath. I had them in my sights, both of him and the whore. I was breathing with them in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. He begins to smile. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death and that stupid look on his face. The smile quivers. And his blah, 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 blah. Then what, we can say? Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning, there were many bells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did. The lieutenant just looks at him for 1, maybe 2 seconds, then breaks the silence. Mr. Dross, are you aware that you're confessing to murder? Yes. A single word is all he gives. The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly, very slowly, and you were looking at them, the victim and the young woman, having sex through the scope of your rifle that night before you shot him? And the old man nods. Why? Because that's what they were doing. He shrugs, then smacks his lips. The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground. I don't understand, says Kim, and he turns to us. Do you understand, detective? I don't understand this part. Why were you looking at them that night, we can ask? I am always looking. He cocks his head inside, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity. Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? He explains, I'm just trying to understand. A rifle scope has the best magnification, says the deserter. Helps him see all the crap. And if you don't like it, says Kim, click. If it's part of the crap you see, then you pull the trigger? Yes. He looks at the lieutenant in the eye. Think of it as a form of critique. Wow. Well, we didn't get any new dialogue options that help us pass this composure check. But before we arrest him, and before we pass the composure check, we do have three new dialogue options. When did you first see the deceased? We can ask. 3 weeks ago, when the rich hag came in on her galley. Her honor guard came in tow. Joyce. He means Joyce. By that you mean Joyce Messier, the Wild Plains rep, we can say. Wrinkled up whore, and he nods. What is with these whores and pederasts? Aren't you a communist? Lacks sexual morals or a bourgeoisie ploy, and he gargles a spitball. As to pederasty, the party legalized it in '04. My party, not your liberal masters. He spits it out on the dying coals. So you don't sermonize me, you racist crap. He adds, it's still bourgeoisie when the bourgeoisie does it. Fiddling with their sexual organs. Some strange glandular process takes place in him at the thought, like yeast rising. Oh, that's awful. And anger, too, in addition to the loneliness. The lieutenant coughs. Moving on, the victim arrives sometime after her, and he nods towards the city. They moved into a deserted apartment above the roundabout. Radio equipment out for all to see. Reactionary radio playing. Sloppy and drunk. I've seen their kind during the landing. Those Occidental and Mesque phalanges weren't conscripts, boys like us. They were whites All they know is to destroy and hurt. Whites, we can say? Barely alive. They like to kill while they're on their drugs. After the landing and the burning years, I would take shots at them, end them, the worst ones, if I had a bullet to spare. I could see they've returned now, to show their real face, the face they don't dare show their bourgeoisie voters back on Mundi, with their families and polyester clothes. What specifically did you not like about what you saw the night of the murder? Them having sex, he says. He looks at the charred wood. I didn't like that. So, you were jealous? Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted her to see his head explode. He nods. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd been there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. He squints. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But, and he shrugs, can't have everything. He wants to see her covered in blood too, to punish her. Jeez. This is getting pretty dark. Anyone else think this is getting really kind of violent and dark? But then again, it's been that way from the beginning. We are, after all, investigating a murder. How long had you been watching her, we can ask? Since she came to Martinez. I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning behind the Feld building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving. Past the Feld building on the coast? What was she doing there? She was placing her message in the reeds, and he's the one who took it. It was missing, remember? Hiding something in the water, he says. She had a cigarette. After she'd done it, I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her smoking. She was nervous, but not scared. And beautiful. And beautiful, we can say. That too. And he nods. How could you see what she looked like? You said it was dark. The sun came up. Her hair was like cobwebs. She smoked more cigarettes and snorted a line of whatever crap she was on. Right there. He shakes his head. She needed it just to move. Well, what do you think she hid there? Her passport, he says, and tickets to Villiers. He coughs. And from there, to Kasherbrum. This is the hidden buoy she told us about. You looked into it? He nods, after she was gone. Did you keep what was in it, says Kim. When we found the submersible, it was empty. No, says the deserter. Oh, he didn't take it. Okay, I was wrong. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets to Villiers. I put them back. If I wanted to extort someone, I'd do better. This implies that he'd thought about extorting her. Are you sure, we can say, because we checked the submersible and there was nothing there. He looks into the reeds confused. Why would I need that trash? I'm not going to Villiers. There it is again. The strange neurological state he's sometimes in. Moving on, did you continue watching her after this? I did, he says, and he almost smiles. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks, and a body, hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taking a beating. I could see who she was, too, and he nods. A spook on the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals. You could tell she was a spook from the documents. She had a different color hair on the photo and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeoisie affair. I've heard all about this kind of thing on the radio. The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope. Oh. He was spying on her through the peephole on the other side of the wall. And you could see her bruises through the scope of a rifle, we can say. You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur, he says. He shakes his silver gray head. But we can pass a perception check to say, how does he know those minute details about her body? It quickly comes to us. The bruises on her body. Any chance you've seen them through a hole in the wall? Oh, yes. And he smacks his lips, cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Blah, 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 blah. Everything in him fills with impossible longing all at once. Did you make that hole? With the clip of a knife. Good for listening in, too. For hearing the moaning and the snorts. Ever see her through a window on a roof? Like that, too, yes, he nods, bending like a bow against the glass. Well, you've been through the secret route behind the whirling and rags. Those were your footprints there. You just changed your shoes. I've been through all of Martinez, every nook and cranny, and that, too. Yes, that, too. He shakes his head, almost in awe. The things they did in that little room, what she'd do to feel good, he explains. Funny, the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some crap, but he keeps shaking his head. Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at us. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective. Then at the man. How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop. I can just walk in there now, after a good wash, says the deserter. I told you they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen is empty. You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How? I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeoisie game merchant lived there, I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the lights on one night in my scope. He points towards the whirling and rags, and he found a use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the union box window. Ah, like the one we found. You wanted to punish her, so you killed him. She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her. He shakes his head and stares at the ashes. It's getting graphic, guys. We stare at the ashes, too. In our mind, her innocence Dei still turns to leave, airport bag in hand, silks flowing in her wake. The dream. See you tomorrow, Harry. Her voice rings in the evening air, burning. Well, we can't say that we hate women, too. I mean, we could. Maybe he does. Maybe Harry does after everything that his ex did to him. Or actually, no, that he did to her. After everything we've learned, I mean, she was probably right in leaving him. I'm not like that, we can say. I don't think like that. No one gives a crap what you think. The old man spits in the ash. You and your cronies kill 10 working-class men a day. I've heard the statistics on Channel 8. You had feelings for that woman. And he sighs, there's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough. The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying? Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. And he looks at the city. It's weakness, I know. There have been others, we can say? Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something. Was that why you left the dried flowers behind her window? No. He starts to shake his head again, a sunflower on a withered stalk. Well, why then? I don't really know, he says. I was there one night and she was crying like a child in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes. When was this? The day after I'd killed him. Did you brought her maybows? Yes. He looks at the charred logs. I don't know why I do the things I do anymore. It's as if something put the thought there to leave the flowers. Well, okay, I would normally do this one, but we'll go with the volition check. Something put the thought in you. A compulsion. What do you mean, put? He raises his eyes. They're round and wide. A brief flash of terror. I just got this feeling from what you said. Do you agree? Maybe, he says, and he lowers his head and just stares at the logs. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you. A sudden pang of rage. If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you. And he wipes his eye. In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more. One more down. So in conclusion, it wasn't about him. It was about her. Her, he repeats, staring at the ashes, then the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye. The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it. Holy cow! Is this it? Right? This is it. He was this awful mercenary, did all of these crimes in the past. There's the union, there's the protests. But the reason he's dead is because some old communist creepy guy on an island was a peeping Tom watching women have sex in windows at night, kind of fell in love with this one, and out of jealousy killed this guy because he was jealous. That's it. Jeez, it's so human. The old man looks at us, suddenly remembering something. Where is she? That Klasje. I haven't seen her there for days. Now, Weirdbeard is suggesting we not tell... Well, she didn't die, right? In our game, she didn't die. Bernard says, love you, Ox. Here's a drink on me. Thank you, Bernard. So we don't need to worry about telling him that she's dead, because she's not dead. So what we'll say is number 2. She got away, but she led us here first. She figured out someone was watching her from the seaport. Gone. He looks to the city and nods. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week, at the island, like she knew. And he sighs. She'd look at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. He adds, to no one in particular, it doesn't matter. Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, the oceanic wind washes 40-story towers. Above them, Loisan Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft. We can look north. On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving for another far south. Smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the spring air below her. Streets and towers, tenements and water, and across it, a dark strip of ruins barely visible if she didn't squint her eyes. There, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. The ruins of a sea fort stick out of the water, built by Philip II, reappropriated by the commune, then lost in the landing. He's there doing what exactly, I don't know. Satellite Officer Vicamer points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Hiddleston is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place where, and his voice trails off as the 3 walk down the jetty. As the men go, Patrol Officer Minot looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification like a rotten tooth rising out of the water. Good luck, Harry, she thinks. You need something good for this. We could get more, says Kim. The lieutenant uses the opportunity to tell us, in a lowered voice. We've got him talking. You could get more out of him. He likes talking. Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this. Hey, and we got this all the way up to 92% now. Vladimir says, Ox, you can put skill points into skills right in the middle of dialogue. The skill button in the bottom right works. Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's cool. But we don't really need to right now. We've got this composure check sorted. It's 92%. But before we arrest him, before we pass this composure check, we can say, been looking at anything else you haven't liked? A tragic comedy. He shakes to life. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers. A straight little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. More specifically, we can say, specifically the whole city is a charnel house, stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez, he shakes his head in grave disgust. Martinez is the worst. How come? Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world, listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. He points inland. He's actually kind of right about this. How many racists have we met during the course of this game? A lot. There's a lot of them. Bernard Francis says, love ya, Ox. Here's a drink on me. Thank you, my friend. Cheers, Bernard. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a social democrat who runs it. Mr. Claire Everard, we can say? Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philip III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class. Let's let him finish and not interrupt. Not since the serfs of ancient Perikinesis has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol is at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins, in tents, like animals. He points to the church, like those boom boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. He keeps shaking his head with sorrow for the sight he missed. That all we can say? The worst of them is that blood-drenched Sucreant on her yacht, licking her lips. The old horror's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins, too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozone, or Croyant Moraine, or some other island they've built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having What? Good gravy. We can say nothing. That's all the rich really want. Blah, blah, blah. Throughout history, even the royal bloodlines of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old blah, blah frizzle is now dead. We can just nod. We did good when we pushed him under the horse car. If only in the 30s, those disco whores. What follows is ominous mumbling. We cannot make out a single word. The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. Disco whores, we can say? Whores is all he says. Even that word has to be pushed through his teeth with great force. The rage seethes too hard. You mentioned the Union is social democratic and Mr. Clare a farce of a social democrat? Another hideous disappointment, he says, and he pokes at the ash. Unions are the real enemy, the true enemy of the proletariat, placating the masses. Disappointment, so personal. He displays a familiarity with the Union's top brass. Who's a disappointment? Everard Clare? That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own butt. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one. Doesn't Everard run the Union? That mobster toad couldn't run a crap house. He has no political education. His twin, Edgar Clare, that's the one. Or that one's been to one of those East Revachol universities. He talks a big game about uprising and alienation and so on. He's been sweet-talked by this Edgar. They must have met in person for such animosity to have developed. We are not the first people you've met from this city, are we can say. You can't live alone, he says. He stopped poking at the ash now, just shakes his head. The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard, says Kim. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing. Of course. Maybe the Clares asked him to... Don't go straight for the kill, says Suggestion. Exhaust everything first. Have you approached them? We can say. I haven't approached anyone. I've hid. It was Edgar who came to me. How did he know you were here, says Kim. He didn't just stumble in like an oaf, and he nods to us. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. He pointed to the path leading to the tower. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. He shrugs. I was right about one of those things. When was this, we can say? 20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then. That's around the time the Clares came to power. Well, what did you talk about, we can say? Edgar did the talking, paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform, offered platitudes about the struggle, flaunted his pink degree, even quoted Mazov. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Mazov, he suddenly remembers. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker that he brought. And he lets you be here, we can say. Let me be here, says the deserter. He looks around. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Ravachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this. They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy? Mr. Droz, did you kill the Krenel mercenary for the Clares? To incite a riot? You know why I killed the jerk droid. And he shakes his head. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again. Again? Says Kim, what have you done for Edgar before? Tried teaching him some Mesovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways. And he coughs. We doing scotch and smoke rings for Thanksgiving, says whatever tube. No. This Thursday I gotta cancel it. Gotta cancel the show for Thanksgiving. But we'll pick up where we leave off next week. We'll have it after Thanksgiving. Ooh, we've got a logic check here, but we've got a low chance to pass it. And it's a red check. We've only got one opportunity. Let's see if we can get a bonus to passing it by going through this dialogue tree. By the cock parading in his colorful uniform, do you mean Renee? Every stinking morning for 34 years, he grinds his teeth in rage, throwing that ball, one ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls play it like it was life itself. Click, clack, he makes the sounds of balls connecting across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot's plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race, a petanque maniac, a race traitor. We can just nod. I remember him. He points to his black eye. I remember him from La Noche. Not him personally, his make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the liberals came to their rescue. Well, we missed one. With his shaky finger, he points to the city, towards the crater near the plaza, where the lonely pine tree stands. That one. There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today, not even Gaston alone. There's no one there, we can say. But he says fat and plump, like a pheasant. He doesn't hear us, just begging to be popped off. A grin stretches across his face. Very softly, please, Mr. Dross, shoot me. He whispers with such predatory hunger it borders on longing. You'd like to kill him, we can say? The smile lingers. Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bonbon melt in my mouth. Save that treat for later, says Kim. The lieutenant asks cheerfully. He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day, the blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock-grenade for the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel he lets out a wistful sigh. Better. I even hid one bullet so I'd always have one for him. The lines on his face straighten as he looks inland. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood. Hearing it may destabilize him. You sure you've gotten everything from him? Well, Vladimir in chat and our suggestion check are recommending that we not tell him that Renee has died. So we can say bad arthritis. Yes, he died, or he's not playing this week. We can lie. And we gain 5 experience. Heh, yes, of course. He seems to relax a bit. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood. Must be torture not to be throwing his balls for a whole week. He seems relieved. Could he have been worried for him? He reminds him of himself. The same hatred. The same, I'm trying to think of another thing, but no, it's just the hatred. They are veterans of the same war. Somewhere west in Coal City, his enemy is lying in a dark room on a metal slider in Ussoir Municipal, like he will too soon. Half of the war between these men is over. With an agitated gait, Satellite Officer Jean-Heron Vickemer paces the jetty, 22 kilometers east in Martinez. What could he possibly be doing there for so long, he says. Police work? Patrol Officer Judith Minot replies, with a tinge of hope in her voice, a tinge of warmth, too, against the cold air rising from the water. He's drunk, she thinks, and we all know it. Still, she's just trying to see it in a generous light. Well, we didn't gain anything by going through that dialogue tree first, so since it's a red check, we might as well try to pass it. What was the deal between him and Edgar? Oh, we got it! Hey! The connection comes to us like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water. Death Viper in the chat says, "Hey, Ox." Hey there, Death Viper. So good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining us on this, what I think may be our last day of Disco Elysium. 20 years ago, when you met Edgar, the Clares didn't run the Union yet, did they? Heh, says the deserter, a sputter from the old man. He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend. Who did? That bourgeoisie cow. Tiffane Holly was her name. He narrows his eyes. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a dark maker. His eyes glistened suddenly with hatred. Bordering on sentimentality, it drips out of him, tempered by something familiar, a familiar rage. She was also a woman, wasn't she? Like that Klazje. She was. And she was real soft on those money men. Had a Barbara Muskova bag over her shoulder that she liked to bring to work. And then she just disappeared. Called in, they say, on the eve of battle, ran away, vanished like a piss stain. He squints and smiles at the black logs. No, that's not quite it, is it? Says our logic. Did she? Says Kim. The lieutenant feels it too, in his black gaze. They say her daughter called in. Not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it? No, I guess it was not, says the deserter. You could swear you see the embers glow again under his eyes on the dust. Edgar had someone make the call. Why is that, Mr. Dross? She couldn't make the call herself, says the deserter. Here it is, the bend in the river. Why? Because she was dead. Just say nothing. We'll say nothing. The cow caught a bullet in her right lung, fell into the canal, grasping her chest, and drowned. Or bled, hard to say. It was a sloppy job, and a moving target. She was going home, waddling, dressed in yellow, drunk, like she often was. The ruins were black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne at Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new battlements for the people who flourish in hell around her and the ruins. You shot her. Someone shot her, he shrugs. His eyes grow cold suddenly. Or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is another big spike of rage, different from the one he has for her. Nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising, just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing. Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal, says Kim. Heh, he says, and a sputter again, nothing more. If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk, the lieutenant says in a voice even calmer, as if it were nothing at all. We would strike everything you've done and process you as a prisoner of war. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Sumerian People's Republic. A degenerate workers' state, he says. Goat crap? No thank you. I'm Revacholian, he spits. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything. And he coughs. Come on, just a little. You're buddies. Okay, so then we can say, you can tell me here. It won't be that usable. And he says, I haven't lived and fought for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 a.m., Radio Revachol, late night. And we gain 5 experience. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled. And he looks to the city. The same old freezing hatred. There is plenty here to work with once he's in custody. And the lieutenant knows it. He gives you a little nod to proceed. All right. Wow. So the Everarts used this guy to get to power. What a twist. Toxic Sean says, this game has been a joy. We'll miss this immensely. Me too, my friend. It has indeed been a joy. Well, we won't tell them about Renee, so instead we can say, I'm glad we talked about this. Now, glad, he says. It's all gone. He stares into the dust at his feet. Gray and dirty spring grass all around it. And at last, we can pass the composure check to assess his body language. What strikes us about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild, he is surprisingly okay. Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated. Animated by what? It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads as he just stares at the logs of the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. Dementia? We've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on. Mr. Dross, we can say, are you on some kind of psychoactive substance? No, says the deserter. He snaps out of staring through you. I won't be stuffed full of crap like the rest of this city. You said you take painkillers, says Kim. The lieutenant follows our lead. I take them to cope with the pain, he says. The people of the city use painkillers because they have pain. Untreated illnesses, not enough money for a greedy doctor. Are you sure about him being lucid? Maybe he's just affected by an extreme case of socialism. He's definitely affected by an extreme case of socialism. Our composure tells us that it's not a downer, it's an upper, judging by his snaps. Are you on amphetamines, we can say? Like some kind of decadent rock star? Says the deserter. He doesn't dignify it with more of an answer. Well, Mr. Dross, are you okay? How's your memory? He waves his hand, chasing something that's not there. No, I'm not okay. I crap blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people. There it is again. Erratic hand emotions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even we have not yet tried? We shall keep our eyes peeled. Well, our only option left besides leaving or telling him about the death of Renee is to say, Josef Lilianovich Dross, you are under arrest for the murder of the Krenel Colonel here in Martinez. What? How does this come to a surprise as a surprise to him? The old man's eyes fill with sudden, unexpected terror at the words. But you said I would be taken to the... This terror is the sum of all of the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he has been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence of the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation. Your wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court within 44 days. Do you understand? But the deserter does not speak. Do you understand? But... Kim, he's afraid. No, I don't want to. I have to stay here. He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror. He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too, eyes getting blacker and blacker. Your confirmation is not required, sir. The lieutenant turns to us. Now, on to the boat. Oh, dear. %. It's a red check. The reason I pause is because I wonder if I'm going to get something that's going to increase my ability to pass this check if I first say, does it have room for 3? Not really, says Kim, and he shakes his head. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other one stays here, but there's something you're not getting here that he's realizing. But what? The lieutenant shakes his head frustrated. Who watches over him there while I come back for you? And our logic says Lillian. We could ask her, maybe. Maybe I can just ask that net picker to watch him. This is no harmless old man, the lieutenant shakes his head. This stinking world. He stares at something. Who knows what in the dust. This world. What is this? No, listen. Listen now. You could come back for me once you've taken him to the precinct, we can say. No, it would take a whole day on this island. You go and transport the prisoner. I'll be here. I can escort him to the pier with you. No need to be polite. I'll do it, we can say. This world, the old man repeats. What are you talking about? This is... His voice drowns out in a sudden gush of wind. Us. The wind is cold from the east. Our skin is crawling suddenly. Oh, and I missed my opportunity to pass the check. What? What? It's the Insulindian phasmid! Oh no! A delicate triangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence. We can blink. It's still there, an unfolding mechanism of reed-like chitin hovering in place. What is that? And we can point to it. The old man looks at the reeds, then at us. What are you talking about? The giant stick insect. He looks confused. There's nothing there. The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at us with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. We feel our legs shaking under us and our gun hand move to our holster to grab the gun. It is! I see it, we can say. And the deserter says, tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds. Kim, can you see it, we can say. I can see it, says Kim. 4 simple words. Thank God. If he can see, then we're not insane. But then that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender. Be very, very careful, the lieutenant whispers, then takes a step towards the giant arthropod. The creature stands on its stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from its head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from us. The segmented antennae move with apprehension, searching for something that's not there. Well, geez, 97%. This is the Insulindian phasmid, we can whisper to Kim. The lieutenant whispers behind us. We hear the familiar ring of his jacket unzipping slowly, painstakingly so. We glance over our shoulder. The lieutenant holds a small piece of milled aluminum. He begins to pull it open extremely carefully. It's the camera! No, the flash will scare the creature off. Warn him now! Kim, the flash is loud. It won't like that.
We need a photo. No one will believe us.
He continues to pull the lens open. From the corner of our eye, we see a sudden cascade of motion ripple through the phasmid's limbs. A series of ultrasonic clicks fills our ear. I am not palatable. Do not eat me. I am afraid. It's afraid. Stop now.
I won't be one of those fools who didn't take a picture.
He has stopped fiddling with the camera, but does not put it down. We see the phasmid turn to him, its mandible antennae reaching out. The motions are quick, sudden. Who cares what they think, Kim?
Understood. Of course.
He says with a nod. And we gain 5 experience. The spindly mechanism turns itself back to us, its antennae taking their measure of the air slowly. Well, I don't want to risk scaring it off, and since we can definitely pass this, we can try to approach carefully. Slowly, with our breath held, we take 2 small steps towards the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around our head like swallows, like laughter, a sort of happiness. Sweat drips from our brow, soaking our chest. We reek of it, our chemicals. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. We are right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water. Hello, I'm Harry. I don't really know who I am. No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around us. We can stand on our tiptoes and look more closely. We were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish. We can whisper, Kim, it's foaming. Careful, it may be poisonous. The lieutenant watches us apprehensively. The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst one by one. Oh, this, I don't think this is good. This isn't, this isn't good. Bernard says, what I like about this game is the dice rolls, and sips scotch. I also am liking that. Well, we have a very high chance to pass an Inland Empire check to say, tell me, what are you doing? I exist, says the Insulindian phasmid. I exist too. Tell me what it's like for you, says the Insulindian phasmid. It's wunderbar, we can say, or I'm ill, we can honestly say. What is your illness? In my heart. For me, it's sadness. Input after input. For me, says the phasmid, it is not like that. I have states, not emotions. For example, I experience excitement at unexpected sugar rewards. But that is not important. Now I will tell you how it is for me. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist. Intruded upon? By what? Shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations. A swarm of sound, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms, all speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I am nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never ache. I like this one. The heck is happening to me right now? We can say you're the type of animal I would like to be. The Insulindian phasmid says, are you sure? No, I'm not sure, but why are you asking? Sometimes, says the phasmid, when molting, I regrow a lost limb. One time something went wrong, and a small leg replaced a missing antenna. That's cool, we can say. No, says the phasmid. The leg tried to move around independently, making it hard to walk. You don't have a foot there now. Yes, thankfully someone ate it. The next time I molted, I grew an antenna again. Oh, okay. Well, I am a detective, we can say, and he says, so am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect? The killer, we can say. He is in a bad state, deteriorating fast now. He thinks I am beneficial to him, but I am not. I only quicken his deterioration. You're destroying him, we can say? Very slowly, says the phasmid, and only because he won't go away. It is meant to keep them from noticing me, to interfere with the pictures in their heads, but he has looked at me too long, and I am destroying him. Is this a dream? What's happening? Vladimir says, make this check. You have the points. I presume you're talking about an upcoming check, and I will make it. No, you are awake. I am real. Light is forming me. This is real. Where does this come from? All of this around us, the world. Not even the birds know that. Not even the water lilies. But we need to know. Perhaps it's sent to us by a god? I think we should eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth. Or a reed. Yum, yum. Vladimir says, put all points into perception. It's redacted. All right. There you go, Vladimir. What exactly are you, we can say? I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmodea, endemic to the Insulindian Isola. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and buoys. Adam says, Ox, spend your points in perception. Thank you. That's what Vladimir said, and I took care of that. Thank you, Adam. It may have unknown dangerous biochemical characteristics that help it maintain its camouflage. I went unnoticed by the first settlers and the land surveyors of the suzerain, also by the soldiers of the revolution and the officials of the occupation. Even the Seminese islanders who came here, but did not stay, have not seen me. Are you poisonous, we can say? Yes, he says. I do not have a startle display, so I use a neurodegenerative alimone to aid in camouflage. Do not worry, it is only destructive over long periods of time. Are you a miracle, we can say? No, you are the miracle. How? The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively median life form, while you are extreme, all-engulfing madness, a volatile simian nervous system, ominously new to the planet. The Pale, too, came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Snidarians do not. The radically symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all. Wait, what is the Pale? It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind. But I don't have that kind of power to destroy the world. You are a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Given enough time, you would wipe us all out and replace us with nothing, just by accident. How, we can say. We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing, only much worse. Worse? How? Everything your eyes touches goes back there, behind the nerve mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if you misplace us all one day, or just forget? Well, but I've already forgotten the whole world once when I drank too much. So it is already happening, says the Insulindian phasmid. Soon one of you will close your eyes and open them to see that none of this ever existed. Kim, am I having a violent epileptic seizure? Doesn't look like that, no, says Kim. Well, what does it look like? You're just staring at it. he whispers. Then I think I'm having a vision about the final fate of mankind. Okay, says Kim. After a second, the lieutenant asks, is it somehow related to the case? Well, sort of, we can say, because we did learn that his poison is causing the holes in our murderer's head. Kim says, I think we should take the picture, and then you should back away from the unstudied species. Well, I have to say bye now. I have no more thoughts. That was all. No, there is one more, says the phasmid. Of all the creatures I have met, you are the most beautiful. Thank you, says the Insulindian phasmid. I also have one more thing to say to you before you go. That woman. Turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward for freedom. We know what he means. I will try. She was hell on earth. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that. Okay. We can raise our hand slowly. The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe us. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion glittering. The world stands still around us. Suddenly there is silence. No, stop. Be afraid. We can raise the other hand too. As we do, the invertebrate comes to life, its limbs moving independent of each other. As if each has a mind of its own, they are white like stalks of porcelain, knitting above us. Shifting around in the reeds around it, in the muddy water, we notice some of its hind legs apparently standing on the water from time to time. It's that light. And is that a glimmer in the water? Below it, like plastic? Could it be hoarding something? Kim, there's something there. A nest? The whisper is anxious. Don't do anything now. Later, when it's gone, maybe. Okay, Kim, we can at last whisper. Take the picture. Okay, says Kim. With a slow ring of metal, the lieutenant slides the lens open and raises it to eye level. There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on us. In 3, says Kim. The lieutenant whispers. His voice is tense. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful! The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like a blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light, head turned towards the lieutenant. Hypnotized by the flash, it stands frozen before us. I got it, says Kim. We hear the lieutenant whisper as the creature's shape develops onto photo paper in his hand. A polychrome ghost of white streaks against the reeds in the sky, and we as a shadow before it. For all time. We can slowly reach out and touch the creature's whisker. The antennae hang from a great height. With our hand shaking, we barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the chitin curls into a spiral, like the tip of a poison ivy. Its touch on our fingertip feels cold, ticklish. The sensation is electrifying, resounding through our body. It is surprisingly delicate, the curly end of the whisker, like a young brine. It's even a bit wet. Looks like someone's got hurt in a fight. This antennae is much smaller than the other one. Be careful, detective, says Kim. It's moving. We can look at our finger. We were right. It glistens with some kind of moisture. The creature in front of us stays frozen. Do we lick it? We can lick our finger. Oh, God. It tastes like sugar. Very faint. The arthropod towers above us, tufts of reeds pointing from limb and head alike. Odorless, mostly comprised of water. We can carefully pet its scythe-like forearm. The limb before us is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. We feel a soft push. Could tip the creature over, its hollow exoskeleton collapsing. We could run our hand up the slender limb. Higher, a small shudder passes the creature's arm. High above us, its black pearl eyes still glisten, mesmerized by the light passing its nervous system. There is some kind of countdown happening as it slowly processes the overwhelming brightness of the signal. The invertebrate is regaining control. We got it, and we can back off. Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life like a record continuing where it left off in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from us. And with everything explored in this dialogue tree, we can at last disengage slowly. As we're turning away, the phasmid mirrors our movements, stepping on the water. The long limbs carry its feather weight without breaking its surface. I can't believe it. The Insulindian phasmid. And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there among the reeds, a collection of items. It's gone. The lieutenant looks north with his hand raised to his brow. It can walk on water? Apparently, yes, says Kim, like a water strider. Only, and he shakes his head with amazement, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Well, what's that? In the reeds. He squints. Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look. What now? What now? The old man behind us repeats suddenly. He puts his hand into the ash. It's dirty and black, in some kind of strange, semi-catonic state. Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him. Hey! A T-500 helmet and a rifle scope! Wow. A common 30mm sniper scope attachable to almost any bolt-action 4.46 caliber weapon. It uses an older style non-dotted rangefinder reticle. Seaweed is still stuck to the lens, and it suffered water damage from its time in the phasmid's dowry. And there's the weapon we got from him. The bolt-action 4.46 caliber Tryon Gong is the poor man's sniper rifle. While not the most reliable of firearms, it is relatively precise due to a very manageable recoil, thus allowing the shooter to take multiple consecutive shots fast. This particular piece is missing a scope, though, and we just found the scope. What's this? Evidence. Claus J's passport. Bernard says, I work at an assisted living facility for schizophrenic people. I started a D&D club. Dice is my Sunday night life now. It is very popular and filled with the smartest people ever. My hardest DM ever. Well, Bernard, I wish you all the best. DMing a game of D&D is a challenge in and of itself, but it's very rewarding, and I hope you have a lot of fun. This well-traveled passport with visas stamped in it is issued by the Republic of Orange. We found it in the phasmid's nest on the island. We can open it for more details. This passport, issued by the Sovereign Republic of Oranje, is issued to a black-haired woman called Katarzny Alazje. Klazje's hidden documents. The lieutenant looks at it in our hands from the empty buoy. We can look at the photo. It's Klazje with short black hair and glasses. She looks boyish, younger somehow. What was it doing in the phasmid's nest, we can ask? Maybe our man Mr. Dross took it from Klazje's, or whatever her name was, hiding place, or... We can say the phasmid took it, and I sensed it do so. I saw something open up the buoy with spindly legs. Like a magpie, says Kim. He looks around. What a coincidence. Then it would also have collected the other objects, which would be highly unusual. By now, the lieutenant has accepted our unusual methods. I can see how the helmet could wash up on the island and the scope. Maybe Mr. Dross lost it? But to seek out this would be very unusual behavior for an arthropod. It says Katarzyn Alazje. He opens his notes. She said it would be for Anouk Mayer Schmidt. Anouk Mayer Schmidt. Katarzyn Alazje was supposed to be her name. She lied to us. Yes, says Kim. Somehow she managed to lie to us one more time. In a way, she's still lying to us right now. And the lieutenant smiles. So what is her real name then? I don't know, says Kim. But it's not Katarzyn Alazje or Klazje or Anouk Meyer-Schmidt. We didn't even scratch the surface with her, detective. He looks east. Perhaps it's better that we didn't arrest her. Who knows what hell she'd be raising in my district now? And we can put the passport away. Well, at last we get to a point where Kim is glad we didn't arrest her. Vladimir says, I was telling you about the perception check you completely missed, but luckily the phasmid appeared nonetheless. Points don't matter anymore after this point. Okay, great. Well, we got the phasmid anyway. So that was the perception hearing check, right? Okay.
What is it? What do you want from me? I can't go.
Something is very wrong with him now. Sir, how could you not see the phasmid? See? He stares at the reeds and falls silent. Mr. Dross, says Kim. The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets, his gap-toothed mouth shaking, like an addict of some terrible substance. We touched the phasmid. It got on our fingers. We can snap our fingers under his nose. A light shiver passes him, followed by nothing. His hands are trembling and he breathes slowly. He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The lieutenant inspects him gently. The good news is this solves our transportation problem, doesn't it, Mr. Dross? The trembling mouth appears to sigh. Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid. What has happened to this man? Old age and shock. He looks at him, then us. I think it's the phasmid, we can say. Yes, says Kim. The arrest and the appearance of the phasmid, the combined stress. He looks at us, but you think it's something more than that, don't you? There's much more. Remember what it said when it spoke. Quite a few things about the health check you did on him make sense now. He couldn't see it, Kim. It's just the reeds to him. That could be part of the shock, but you are right. Something is off here. Mr. Dross. And he touches the man's shoulder, but there is no response. Maybe this is how the phasmid has stayed hidden all these years, we can ask. Then how did we see it, says Kim. He thinks, oh, you mean whatever does this, does it over time. Teenagers, kids, drunks, sightings are brief and hence not credible. But anyone who spends a long time with it, yes, you forget it's there. The lieutenant inspects the man. Mr. Dross, have you ever seen a stick insect pretending to be the reeds? The old man stutters. The doctors will have to look at this. I hope your station has better medical personnel than 57. This is a little advanced for a nurse. Before, when I evaluated his state, he seemed strangely animated. And Kim nods. He was energetic and articulate. After all of these years alone, with little hygiene or medication, I would expect worse. Perhaps this animation is induced by something in the phasmid. He does not seem to be animated now that it has left. He looks to the sea. Honestly, I'm ready to believe anything at this point. Maybe it is psychoactive. I mean, why not? It's 3 meters tall. He takes off his glasses and cleans them. When he puts them back on, he's still staring at the sea. I think he's addicted to that thing. Like a drug, says Kim. He has displayed addict behavior, and it's not just painkillers. His pupils appear to be dilated. They still are. He examines the catatonic man's eyes. Could it be that there's something hormonal in his relationship to the phasmid? You mean pheromonal? He seemed a little off for a man of his age. Randy. The scope, knowing of her business, his disposition towards Miss Orange, he nods. I see what you mean. I talked to the phasmid, we could say. It said it's destroying him. You should be more careful, detective, says Kim. Are you sure it wasn't having an effect on you? Maybe. Anyway, it's only trying to remain unseen. The degradation is a side effect. A valid hunch, says Kim. Long-term exposure to something like that could be neurodegenerative. Also, please be careful when approaching unknown species in the future, detective. He's been here for a long time. Who knows how much of it is in its company, we can conclude. And Kim says he did seem distressed when it finally came to arresting him, like he didn't want to leave this place. And the insect maybe... He looks at his notebook. I have absolutely forgotten to take notes. I hope I remember all of this. He shakes his head in disbelief. This will be one hell of a report. Thank God we have the photo. We found some things in the phasmid's nest, Mr. Dross. He stares into the reeds. Our words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps we should show him the ceramic helmet. Nothing. Just dull staring. Not even rage left wherever he is. The last embers have gone out. The war is over. We can show him the Orange's passport. Hey, my icon is green now. Whatever problems my ISP was having have appeared to have resolved. I'm now getting a steady 9,000 plus kilobytes per second. So we should be good. No reaction. His breathing is slow and he appears very old all of a sudden, around 80. This is an old man at last, no longer a tin soldier, but the broken down remains of a man. Did you take this passport and other papers from a buoy on the coast? Says Kim. He blinks and continues to stare at the reeds. The spirit. He hears us, says Kim. The spirit? No reply. He's gone again. Try something else. We had him back for a moment. Or we can show him the detached scope. He turns his eyes to it. I lost. You lost it, Mr. Dross? He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes. He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there, with the help of a magpie phasmid. The lieutenant observes the lens sparkle in our hand. This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot? Silence. Not even a sigh. You've gotten all you will out of this poor being. I'm going to let you rest now, Mr. Dross. We can conclude. The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched, and his mouth is open. The blacks of his eyes are receding. His pupils are returning to normal. The strength has all gone out of him. Just frail old bones and a sack of tracksuit trousers and a windbreaker. Hang tight. We can leave. We should think about getting back to the mainland to get help. He'll be safe here if we don't take too long. Okay. Use the boat to return to the mainland. Well, that was a really long concluding dialogue, wasn't it? The skiff is swaying on the waves by the dock. We can leave. Oh, okay. Sorry, I misread that. Let's return to the mainland. Let's. We are done here, says Kim, adjusting his glasses as he looks out over the water. The skiff rocks gently under our weight as we get in. The ride back is uneventful and quiet. But for the sound of a conversation on the water, there is someone inland waiting for us. Two men and a woman stand on the concrete square of a nameless village, looking at a small yellow boat as it draws closer. The sea is calm. We reach the jetty and climb out of the skiff.
Look what the tide brought in,
says the man without sunglasses. Suddenly, his expression changes as he tilts his head.
You look like a fucking clown, Harry. Not like a funny police officer, but like a real-life, full-time, pie-in-the-face, unicycle-riding circus employee.
Whatever this is, it is completely unimportant compared to what you've just seen. This is the man with the sunglasses from the Whirling and Rags. But where are his sunglasses? No one else seems bothered by my style.
Bothered by it, Harry? You're a goddamn cop. They're afraid of you.
Oh, that explains it.
Yes, that has always explained it.
Vic, calm down.
Wait, you're the man with the sunglasses.
That's right. And you're some kind of a urban scarecrow thing.
Forget about all of this. There's a giant...
We're not forgetting about anything. Look at you.
He points at us with both hands. Who are you people?
Hello, I'm Trent Heidelstein. I believe we've met on several occasions.
Yeah, this is the guy who was with his son pointing at the mural.
I'm your goddamn partner, Jean-Vic Mar, and this is your special task force.
He
Or
says-
what's left of it.
He says, gesturing towards his companions.
Special Consultant Trant Heidelstein, Patrol Officer Judith Minot.
Hi.
We have come to scrape what's left of you off the pavement.
Lieutenant Kim Kisuragi, Precinct 57. We've just come from the island where our investigation led us.
The scene is making him even feel as though he has to justify your actions.
We might need your help with something later.
He adds, suddenly regaining his confidence, as if he recalled that he's, in fact, a decorated police lieutenant and not a naughty boy.
But this is clearly a departmental matter, so I'm going to leave you to discuss it among yourselves.
No, Kim, you gotta have my back. Let's destroy them. Sorry, I've got 15 people texting me. All of them know I'm streaming right now, and they're all ignoring it. Well, thank you, Lieutenant, we can
Good to
say.
meet you, Lieutenant Kitsuragi.
She says warmly, flashing Kim the tiniest of smiles. Letting the lieutenant know he shouldn't feel embarrassed over the crap storm that's about to befall us. So what's this about?
Ari, we want to help you. Trant, I believe this is where you come in.
This is the horse-faced woman. I don't know why you named her that, but it was beyond idiotic. You should never address her using those words again.
I don't quite know what I'm doing here. I was asked to participate as an expert. I think I need to manage your expectations a little. I'm at best an enthusiast in cognitive science. My background is in something else entirely. I engage in neurology on a merely theoretical level. In fact, I should probably get going.
No, Trant, it's too late. You're part of this shit now. What have you got to say for yourself, shit kid?
What does he have to say for himself? He left you to catch the bullets. Okay, let's start by saying you, and we can nod to the female officer. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you before. It's okay, she sighs. I didn't come here to gloat or to fool you. Neither did he, actually. She gestures towards Vicamere. We're just worried. That's right, worried. I'm always worried about you. Every time you don't show up to work, or when you do, but stink. You're a worry fest. She's worried about you. I'm worried about you. Even Special Consultant Backpedal is worried about you. Everyone worries instead of working. You aren't the man in the sunglasses at all. You're not even blonde, we can say. Guilty as charged, says Jean Vicamere. He exchanges a look with the Special Consultant. I heard you lost your mind and your memory. He wanted to see if it was true. And it was. Good work, Harry. You're insane now. There's one less person for me and everyone else to rely on. He was too sarcastic for you to realize who he was. Maybe if you hadn't been so sarcastic, I would have realized I knew you, we can say. And he says, I'm clinically depressed, Harry. Sorry if I wasn't in the mood to butter you up after you told us to screw off. Actually, I did suspect something was off. Did you? Says Jean. He adjusts his tie. Or did you literally not recognize my face? We've been partners for how long, Harry? Don't answer that. You don't remember. He's right. Don't start guessing. Now is not a good time. So, how did you know I was here? The cafeteria manager you screwed over told us where you went. I saved his establishment and still he betrays me? Strange, says Jean. He didn't mention that. In fact, the establishment didn't look saved at all. There was a giant arrow graffito in front of the building. It was on fire. Yeah, I lit it on fire, we can say. It was a poetic gesture. I knew it. Didn't I tell you, Trant? I told you it was our crap kid. The line is from Lou Jouat's Mirova 82, isn't it? About girl-child communism. The titular returning character, the ghostly apparition of... He looks around and, noticing the impatience of his companions, stops himself. Good choice, Harry. Don't encourage him, Trant. Okay. So Trant Hiddleston turns out to be special consultant Trant Hiddleston. Yes, I'm Trant Hiddleston. I never said I wasn't Trant Hiddleston. So what's up with the kid then, we can say? Mikhail? Mikhail's my son. Oh yeah? Well, what's up with all the interesting history? Spying on me? No, he says. Hold on, sneeze coming. Pardon me. No, he says, I was just interested in the Feld building and the Martinez beachhead. And Mikhail wanted to see Martinez. It was a coincidence. So what are you special consulting here? Well, what indeed, he says. And he looks at the dilapidated shacks, then us. I was asked to share my take on some more obscure theories developed in Kungenstein in the 30s, like partial psychotraumatic amnesia, group personality theory. He's here to see if you're insane. He's smart. Let's move on. Duped again, we can say. No one's who they say they are. Duped, says Jean. Hey, here's a brilliant idea. Don't be a morbid drunk, and you won't get duped so easily. A gardener, a scab leader. This, we can turn to the lieutenant. Tell me at least you are who you said you were. Yes, says Kim. I'm still Kim Kitsuragi, still a lieutenant from Precinct 57. Still caught up in this crossfire, too. You mentioned a task force, we can say. And Jean says, yeah, Major Crimes Unit, under Lieutenants Dubois and Vicamere. Ring any bells? Refresh my memory, we can say. Who else is in this? Refresh your memory, he says. It's a doggone Major Crimes Unit. There's you, me, Jude, Trant Stinking Hiddleston, and Guillemine Bevy. And he stares at us. I'm technically just a civilian advisor, says Trant. Screw you, you're part of this crap show. Yeah, first, who's Julianne Bevy? Oh, that's an interesting story, actually, says Sean, and he's not smiling. Julien Bevy is a police reporter who joined our team. He was really good. Then he left because he lost faith in your ability to lead the unit. Other people have left too. Good, smart people. People we won't get back. Only me and this really patient patrol officer are still here. And Trant, because I'm forcing him to stay. Well, okay, so what does the unit do, we can say? Do? Says Jean. It's a major crimes unit. We clear the desk of cases so Precinct 41 doesn't look like the worst station in town. We're crap tier now, Harry, because of you. They're your posse, or what remains of it, hand-picked, hand-lost. The 41st isn't, says Kim, but he trails off, not wishing to finish the sentence. Well, where have you been all of this time? There was a mercenary tribunal. Doggone it, Harry. And he shifts his weight, crosses his arms, and looks us in the eye. You told us to screw off. You said we are cramping your style, your detective god. Screw everything, and we'll burn. Detect or die. Why didn't you detect or die then, we can say? And he says, oh, you think it was cool, you saying that? Aesthetic, somehow? You were crying when we got here, breaking things. You said you were going into the abyss. None of us wanted to see the abyss, so we screwed off. And he sighs, like you told us to. None of this rings any bells, we can say. And he says, the bells aren't ringing because you have brain damage. Trant, he turns to the blonde. This is where you come in. How bad is it? Well, says Trant, and he doesn't have visible tremors. He talks without slurring. He can drive a boat. He's standing, reasoning, all good signs, but complete retrograde amnesia, episodic and semantic, meaning you forgot both who you are and the definitions of money, Isola, pale, and so on. As displayed in the station call, our interactions with him and, I don't want to be a snitch, he makes air quotes, but also mine with him before, when Harry did not seem to know who I was, it's all very interesting. Interesting, says Jean? Yes, interesting. I have my theories, but I would like to hear Harry's thoughts first. Harry, and he turns to us, what do you think happened to you? Neurologically, psychologically, and, why not, socioeconomically? Really? Oh, good God. Wait, socioeconomically? You think I'm so poor I lost my memory? Well, not when you phrase it like that, he says, but I don't think critical theory, I know everyone thinks this is far-fetched, pink academia, but still, I don't think it should be off the table here. What? Says Jean, he lost his memory because of capitalism? No, not like that. I'm not talking Vreedfort School here, but Harry, I asked you, what do you think happened? Well, I love this one. Well, it's not capitalism, so we can cross that off the list, you lefty dink. I mean, the honest truth is probably that something so sad happened to him that he couldn't be him anymore. It was a defense mechanism. John says, psychotraumatic amnesia? Trant? He turns to the special consultant. I can go for that. Crap Kid is a broken man. Always has been. Who isn't? I know I am. But you know what? And he turns back to us. I keep my crap together. Also, I know a person can't wipe their own mind, however traumatic it gets. That doesn't happen. You're lying or insane or both. But Detective Vicamere, says Judith, she interjects, he has blanked out before. I have, we can say? And she says, yes, a couple of times, after some of the more serious benders. She pauses, remembering. One was after the two drunks case. The other was when we looked into the mural. The two cases in your ledger, the unsolvable case and the next world mural, those were recent. Those cases were hard on us. Interesting, says Trant. So at first he dipped his toes into it. Prepared. That's where he would have gotten the idea. Yes, practice. And then he used alcohol to get there, so to speak. What do you mean, says Jean. Well, here's my theory, says Trent. What if this is an absolutely normal reaction to the world we're living in? What if this is not a significant anomaly at all? Something to be explained, approached as a defect? Look at the sensory input here. He gestures towards the scenery. Look at the ruins, the neon, listen to the radio, the multitudes, the people. Live here for 40 years as a police detective. He's like a magnetic reader on the world tape, to borrow a known metaphor. Harry's been pushed flat against it. Total input. Hardwired to the free market, he nods confidently. He just needed for it to end. Okay, Trant, thank you. That's absolutely meaningless, says Jean. I'm glad we brought you. Will he or will he not be able to work in the Major Crimes Unit? Is he a cretin now? I want to know. He is not a cretin, and he is able to work, says Trant. If not in his previous leadership role, then as a line detective. I'm ready to lead again, we can try to say, and Jean says no one even mentioned that. He looks at you, then at Trant. I misphrased my question. It should have been, is he able to put his clothes on and use the potty? Or do we need to get him on disability pension? They can keep that pension. You're rock solid. You can put your clothes on hard, says Physical Instrument. What now? Now nothing, says Jean. Now we're just going to stand here. Okay, we could just stand there. Yeah, just stand there. It's cool. Really? No, says Jean. Now we discuss that. He points to the water. What the heck did you do to our motor carriage? Why is that there, Harry? Oh, no. Oh, we got to own up to it now. Ranker says, did you notice that all of Claus J's names were anagrams? I didn't, no. I mean, Claus J's name was already so strange. I just assumed they were all strange for some sort of... Well, what would Claus J's name be an anagram of? No, I don't know. I didn't realize that. Oh, lots of great options here. The time had come, we can say. Tequila sunset. Ha ha ha, ho ho ho. He grabs his stomach in mirthless laughter. Tequila sunset, not sunrise, because you're almost dead. So funny, Harry. Thank you for screwing me. Thank you for destroying 45,000 real of police property that's coming out of my payslip. You know that, right? You're going to get fired, and I'm going to pay till I die. It doesn't matter. He exhales to calm his breathing. Your badge, Harry. Show me your badge. I got my badge right here, and we can show it to them. Uh-oh. In a rush to demonstrate our badge, our eager fingers can't sustain a grip on the smooth plastic, and the badge slips out of our hands. We can try to pass a hand-eye coordination check of 42 to catch it, but we juggle the badge for a second unsuccessfully, and it lands on the ground some 2 meters away. Ouch! We strained our elbow trying to catch that stupid thing, dang it. He found it! The patrol officer picks it up and gives it back to us, slippery and cold. He found it, Jean. It's his badge. The man stares at us, unimpressed. And your gun? As if having our badge and gun are natural states, not achievements. I upgraded my gun to a rifle, we can say, and we can show him the Triangong 4.46 rifle. Upgraded it? I don't care about your weapon mania, Harry. I only care about your official sidearm, which you lost. Okay, I got that too. And we can show him the boring sidearm. Ranker says all of her fake names were anagrams of the same name. Wow, yeah, I completely missed that. Whoosh, says Jean. He has it and he didn't drop it. He wipes his brow in mock relief. You're drunk like a bomb, Harry. Put that thing away before you kill someone. I'm not drunk, we can say. I haven't started drinking again. So you forgot to drink? I don't buy it. Why do you smell like a corpse then? He's wounded, says Kim. He looks at you. It's been a long week, and he's handled an actual corpse. Well, we can say none of this matters. My odor situation, it's meaningless compared to what I've discovered. And Jean says, what you've discovered? You let the suspect escape. I'm certain Class J, because you were too drunk to assess her flight risk. We've read the reports, Harry, says Judith. Lieutenant Kitsuragi's, we know. Well, we can say not taking her in was the right thing to do. She gave a vital clue that led us to the island. Oh, well, if she was nice, says Jean, He rubs his face in frustration. I'm not even gonna get into the other suspect who also escaped. Yeah, Ruby something? Or the fact that you're Everard Clare's little peon now, doing I don't know what for him. That small-time stuff, that's nothing. That's a humorous anecdote. Compared to the 6 people who were gunned down. The streets are literally red with blood, Harry. It was a stinking mass murder. And Kim says he did everything he could. The lieutenant interrupts him. We did everything we could. The company hired unvetted mercenaries. Lieutenant Dubois got between them and the locals. Here comes the cavalry, says Esprit de Corps. He did so at considerable risk to his own life. He was shot and survived only because of his armor. We stopped an execution, not a negotiation. The loss of life was minimal compared to what could have been. Also, we can say I solved the case. All of it. It's solved. Kim says, Detective, it's better if I do that, he says in a lowered voice. It's so much better if he does this. 1,000,000 times better. And Jean says, thank you for the input, Lieutenant Kitsuragi. I didn't mean to suggest you didn't handle the situation, and we pass an authority check. He thinks of apologizing, but decides against it. He brushes a stray strand of hair out of his iron cuffs. You've spent the week with him on this case. What's your take? On the case, says Kim. On Lieutenant Yefritter Dubois, says Jean. Well, says Kim, and he pulls up his collar. The drinking, the gun losing, also losing the badge. That's all true, although he has not been drinking on the job this week. See, says Judy. 1 week, says Jean. Then there's the superstardom. He likes to, from time to time, allude to being a superstar, a superstar law officer. At first I thought it was a joke, but now I'm not so sure. He says disco about 20 times a day. It's odd. This is great. This is like a surmise of our entire game. It's odd, says Kim, especially in light of his political views. Detective Dubois is, as you may know, a hustler. The lieutenant pinches the roof of his nose. He grinds. He makes the real. He's a visionary and a money engineer, which is just, and he shakes his head. And then there's the motor carriage in the sea and the constant smoking everywhere all the time. He breathes in sharply. But despite all of this, he is a great detective, one of the best I've seen, in fact. He can talk human beings into telling him everything, and he doesn't stop. In all the time I've spent with him, he has not once stopped pursuing leads, however far-fetched and tangential. He is tireless, madly driven. Well, except that one time when he stopped to sing karaoke, which, by the way, was a valiant effort. He really sang his heart out. Yeah, it was what it was, says Jean. Other than that one time, he has tirelessly worked on the case, and he's solved it. We have a confession, a murder weapon, and the perpetrator, locked on the island right now awaiting transportation. He apprehended a revolutionary brigade who stayed hidden for 50 years, ever since the revolution, who's probably committed other murders over those years. He pauses. Oh, and he also discovered a new species. Trent says, a new species? Yeah, says Kim, a colossal stick insect. This game is ridiculous. Oh, I love it. Yeah, a colossal stick insect. It was on the island, camouflaged as the reeds. It unfolded from the reeds. I think we may be dealing with the Insulindian phasmid. He takes out the photo of the phasmid and shows it to the officers across the yard. The wind blows, flapping the glossy rectangle in his hand. Oh, if the wind blows this away, I'm going to be so mad. We hear gasps beneath the howling of the wind. As you can see, says Kim, it's about 3 meters tall. In fact, we think it may be the largest land invertebrate ever discovered. Oh my gosh, we can say boom shakalaka, mother effer, or we can say Hosanna, whatever that means. Oh, I gotta do it. Boom shakalaka. Jean says, stinking hell is that? The man cranes his neck, still looking at the photo. Is this somehow connected to the case? Detective? He turns to us. And we could say, boom, boom, boom. Or we can say, yeah, I believe the pheromone it emits may be responsible for the killer's mental degradation. And Kim says the old man was not aware of the phasmid's presence, exhibiting a strange atypical dementia. He fell into a stupor after its appearance. He became near catatonic. So it is connected, says Judith. And Jean doesn't say anything. And Trant says, well, I must say this. He points to the photo, is absolutely extraordinary. I don't even have words for it. Jean says, yes, it really does make it hard to fire the drunk. His tired eyes follow the photo as the lieutenant puts it away. This is a very, very sad man who has just seen something that's made him forget his sadness. Now we can make our case. Now is the time. Now or never. I also started a nightclub in the church. What was that? Says Jean. He cups his ear. The wind blows. It sounded like you set up a nightclub in the church. Yeah. Oh God. If we get away with this. Yeah, and I discovered a hitherto unexplored introponetical phenomenon in there too. A 2-meter hole in the world. Oh, that's great, says Jean. Intraponaut is a great new career for you. After police officer. I don't care. Go live in the Pale. Kim says 4 kids were living in a tent on the ice. They were going to drown when it was melted. It's not optimal, but the building was abandoned, so he put them in there. It's okay. It's not that okay. Get off this subject now. Also, the phasmid was female. The reeds are its nest. Female? What makes you think so? Says Trant. You had to see it, says Kim. It had the subdued colors of a female, and the nesting behavior too, I think. Incredible, says Trant. Were there eggs in the nest? Not as far as I could see, says Kim. There were other things, though, and he turns to us. Yeah, we can say it had gathered items in its nest. A helmet, a scope, and a passport. Actually, says Trent, this would indicate it was male. This is far from anything in my field, but I think such nests are called bowers. They are for attracting mates. Oh, well, it could have been male, actually, then. And he says it must be robust if it can move a helmet with its limbs. He trails off, lost in thought. I think it reproduces by parthenogenesis, we can say. As in cloning itself, says Trant. What makes you think so? It told me, we can say. Says Trant. He ignores our answer. Then it wouldn't matter if it's male or female. The bower would just be rudimentary behavior from before the parthenogenetic mutation. Very interesting. He looks around, quickly assessing the coast. Such organisms are extremely vulnerable to disease. A single strain of bacteria could wipe out a whole species. We are probably looking at conservation here. I think it emits a chemical that makes it look even more like the reeds, we can say. And Trent says, yes, that would be a pheromone, a pheromone that's seemingly beneficial to the host. It usually stimulates the affected nervous system. Not a human's, of course, but perhaps a predator's. The perpetrator seemed intoxicated somehow, like an addict. It's just a hunch, but, and began 5 experience. There are species of bees that, under the influence of pheromones, take wasp larvae to their hives. Ants do the same with aphids, thinking there, and he stops. Do you think this is how it has stayed hidden? Nothing is off the table, says Kim, but I want to stress this. The find does not have to be connected to the case. The case is 100% prosecutable without any pheromones. Of course, Lieutenant, says Jean. Of course, we should treat the case and the phasmid as completely separate from each other. People are not going to, and he shakes his head. Judy says, they're not going to go for this speculation in the constabulatory. Well, it had mandibles that looked like hair, and it was completely white on the inside. Yes, says Kim, but also reed-colored beige and brown, a little green on the outer side. After unfolding from a single stalk, it still retained parts that looked like reed tufts on its limbs. Incredible, says Trent. He repeats, turning to Vicamere. The PR value of this is exceptional. Cop discovers new species, maybe even discovers the Insulindian phasmid. No, that's too much. This would really help with some of the problems we've been having, says Judith. Absolutely, says Trant. This is great. This does not say vigilante murderers to me at all. This says science, news, human interest. He smiles. You know, it's a really good thing you have that photo. Without it, says Jean, and he shakes his head. You're doing good here, perhaps only for a moment, but still, quit while you're ahead, okay? Or no? The killer, Lilianovich Dross. We have a strong motive for him. Lilianovich, says Trant. The special consultant raises an eyebrow. A revolutionary matronym? A revolutionary matronym, we can say. And he says, the custom started in Grad, where they have patronyms. Krasovich, Larzovich, etc. The revolutionaries saw this as a chauvinist atavism, so they used matronyms derived from the mother's name instead. This man's mother was Lillian. He's Lillian's son, Lilianovich. The custom was overturned after the revolution failed, but not before it made it to Revachol. So it is what a soldier of the ICM would be called. Thank you, Trent, says Jean. Thank you for that piece of cultural theory. He turns to us. Did you say you have a motive? Of course. Excuse me, says Trent. I just thought it was noteworthy. So jealousy, war between the company and the union. He killed him as an act of rage induced by the phasmid's semiochemicals. I don't think we have enough evidence to say that it was due to the phasmid's semiochemicals. I do think we have enough evidence to say that it was an act of jealousy. Jean says, jealousy? I thought this Lilianovich was an old man to have been hiding for 50 years, 70-something? And Kim says, a strange psychosexual fixation, aggravated possibly by proximity to the phasmid and its chemicals. He himself gave a political reason, said he had killed an enemy combatant. Also, we have ballistics from the gun, matching the bullet found in the dead mercenary's head, and 2 officers on the scene that Mr. Dross confessed to. It's a clear win, says Judith. It's way more than that. Oh, it's way more than that. It'll win me Dora back? I doubt that. We could say it's my masterpiece. They'll teach it in cop school. We'll say it's more than that. A perfect folding mechanism, like a phasmid. And John says, perfect folding mechanism. And he rolls his eyes. Get over yourself, Harry. I can still smell the booze on the wind. Doggone it. Doesn't it ever leave? It is there, like in your bones or something. It will pass in time. We can say that the previous head of the Debidar's Union was assassinated by our killer. And Kim says, the lieutenant lowers his voice just a little. This is a conversation for when we are no longer out in the open in Martinez, where Everard and Edgar Clare have ears everywhere. Understood, of course, says Jean. But a case against Everard would be big, says Esprit de Corps. Trant, the consultant, too, has lowered his voice. I would prefer not to partake in anything union-related for political neutrality. And I also fixed the strike situation, we can say. How, says Jean. It seems to be ongoing. I see red banners on the gates. Kim says he didn't quite solve it. He cross-pollinated information between the company rep and Everard until the rep came to see that the Union desires war, at which point Mrs. Messier decided to, and he shrugs. What? Hand Claire the terminal? Well, we can choose number 3. I just told some people some things. No big deal. Things are calmer now. Sounds like you got played, Harry, because you were off your crap on Al Ghul. Hey, how do you know about Al Ghul, we can say? And Jean says, it doesn't matter how I know about Al Ghul. What matters is you're Everard Claire's peon now. Just as I said, he's a mob boss. Did you know? Is that why you want us to investigate the assassination of the previous Union head thing? To get off Everard's hook? No, says Kim, it's nothing like that. He was reckless with information, but ethical. We don't owe anyone anything. This allowed us to stabilize things in Martinez. God, calm down, Jean, says Judith. There was also a dead man on the boardwalk, a missing person I found. Jean says, yes, fallen through a gap in the boardwalk, drunk. How did you know I found him? Well, the body was transported to Precinct 41, says Judith, our morgue. I had Tilbrook and Mullins take care of funeral arrangements and family stuff. You're not the only cop in the world, Harry, says Jean. All of this comes back to us. Still, says Judith, she says quietly, good work with the missing person detective. It's still a point for you. No denying it, says Authority. So this is basically a recap of all of the major decisions we've done in the game. And it looks like I chose all of the good options except for the one between Everard and Wild Pines. I mean, I chose the one that prevented all-out war. And I wonder then, if I chose the wrong one, what would the good one have been? I also looked into the mystery of the doomed commercial area, we can say. And Jean shrugs. I don't know what doomed commercial area is. Well, Rue de Saint-Gilles 10, a commercial building where all businesses go bankrupt. I looked into it. Why? That's not what you were supposed to do here. And Kim says, well, there's a possible witness in there, and it was close to the crime scene. He was just chasing a lead and ended up advising a local shopkeeper. It was okay. Of course, says Judith. She turns to Vicamere. Call it community outreach, right? We can say that we confiscated drugs from Kuno's dad. Who's Kuno? You don't want to know, says Kim. You're right, Lieutenant, says Jean. I don't. And he turns to us. You snorted the drugs. I know you did. It's all right. I mean, at this point, anything is but the drink. So what do you say? We can say, want to take this hot crap back? And we can point to ourselves. I don't want to, says Jean. But you discovered a new species and solved the murder. And he shrugs. So I have to. Jude? A quick nod. Anything that ends the trial is okay with me, says Judith. And Spree de Corps tells us, we haven't been drinking, she thinks, so maybe this time. Agreed, says Trant. The public relations potential of this is too valuable to let go. And we get an experience. Okay, says Jean. He sighs. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go. Okay. If we ask questions about ourselves, will the guy die? We can say, wait, I have a few questions before we go about who I am. Jean Vicamere says the man looks westward impatiently, jingling his car keys in his pocket. Who am I, we can say. Who are you? You're a gym teacher, Harry. What? Well, obviously you're not a gym teacher anymore, but before? Judith says, before you were a cop, you were a gym teacher in Kuran. She looks around. It's getting really cold outside. Should we maybe... No way, we can say. I was a rock and roll singer. Judith says, you haven't told us about that. You've just told us about being a gym teacher. Well, that does explain a lot. Kim says, Harry, it explains everything. The running around, the jumping, the bicep girth, your inexplicable facial hair, the collection of phone sportswear I've amassed, your love of retro-style dance music, how you're able to perform a 360-degree spin kick. Also, this guy, just everything about this guy. And this guy, too. When was this? When was I a gym teacher, we can say? In your 20s or late 20s, says John. You've really let yourself go since then. And he looks us over. You said in Kuran. I was a gym teacher there? Yes, you taught gym in Kuran. I believe that's the term. Taught gym at a high school. You were a high school gym teacher. The smell of sweat and glue. The worn floorboards. High school, says Kim. Harry, your goings-on with Kuno, Andre, Estelle, the whole thing on the ice. That's why you're so juvie. He smirks. His smirk suggests barely contained laughter. Well, why did I join the RCM then? The regular. You found some chick, says John. She inspired you to fight the big fight, to be more than you are, all of that. You, every morning, walking from Voyager Road to teach gym. She, leaving for the academy with her spring coat on, the air filled with the smell of smoke and raspberries and incredible hope, an ocean full of hope. Okay, I see now. I knew it, says Kim. I knew no normal human being can run like that. He's an honest-to-God gym teacher. Well, why am I like this, we can say. And Jean says it's not a mystery. Some chick screwed you over. Also, you're a drunk. You really went with it, too. Really maximized the damage. Was she called Dora Dubois? Dubois, says Jean. He shakes his head. It was Dora Ingerlund, I think. You've said her name, but you weren't married. You were engaged. Wait, Dora Ingerlund? Something like that. Half Vassen. So we weren't even married? No one is married anymore. This is Revachol. When was this? God, I don't know. You think 6 years ago? She was way before my time. 6 years, and you haven't gotten over it. What the hell is wrong with you? 6 years, we can say? Yeah, or 7. You're not doing too good there. It's an old man thing. 2 old years equals 1 normal year. That and Dora Ingerlund really tore you a new one. A big one. Who was she, we can ask. Incredibly bangable, says Jean. Figures. We can say extremely bangable, Harry. Gorgeous. A gorgeous bourgeoisie woman. Wayfish. Like a Welkin, basically. Heartbreak Welkin. Pain Welkin. I've only ever seen a picture, but it was obvious you formed a real spiritual connection with how pretty she was. One you never recuperated from. Look, says Judy. She turns to face the sea. The sun is going down. It's time to go home. I think she taught in the Académie des Arts east of the river, way east. Hard to say which came first, the middle-class chick or the drink. Egg and the chicken kind of thing. My point is, you need to see a psychiatrist about this crap. Not a psychologist, several degrees harder. Is there something harder than a psychiatrist? He pauses to think. A forensic psychiatrist? Go talk to that. In other words, he's heard enough about this. Okay. Am I a dirty cop working for La Puta Madre? No, says Jean. No? Because the suspect seemed to think you're too unstable to work for a mob boss, Harry. You're suicidal, Harry. No mob boss would take you. I assure you, says Trent, I wouldn't consult for a corrupt unit. I told you it's not that bad, said Volition. Precinct 41, then. What kind of station is it? Us? We're the bloody murder station. Haven't you heard, says Jean. We're the bad guys. No one likes us. That's not true, says Kim. Jamrock is too big for one precinct. You're just understaffed. And everyone respects the 41st. You have Captain Price. Thank you, Lieutenant, says Jean. You're being kind. It is an understaffed station, and the district is too big, which is why we need to, and he tilts his head northward. Get back to it, says Judith. We left Torson and McLean to run the Sea Wing. It's not good. Torson and McLean? Mac the Torso Torson and Chester McLean, she arches an eyebrow. They're not fit to run a wing. Believe me, things are shaky as it is. And the Sea Wing is... God, he sighs. There are 4 wings, Harry. A, B, C, and D. We're in C. It's made of losers and clock punchers. You and I reconceptualized it as a task force. It was a mistake. There's also a lot of outside help involved, says Trant. Not only me, he smiles. Other losers, too. He's anything but a loser. Although he would like to be seen as one. It's cooler that way. And Price is... Ptolemy Price? He's the son of the old Price, one of the founders of the RCM. He's one of the most highly regarded men in the force, says Kim. You're lucky. Somewhere under the curved roof of a former silk factory, shaped like a ladybird with 2 chimneys, Police Captain Ptolemy Price sits behind a heavy wooden desk. Resident medic Nix Gottlieb pours him coffee. It's silent in the captain's office. They speak of change, the city, the tension on the streets. They speak of the events of April and the blood on the streets in May. Did we really shoot up a church by any chance? And we can point to the church. So he remembers that. Yes, there may have been a raid on some churches. It wasn't good press, says Jean. Shooting up churches never is, says Trant. I was out of town, to be clear. What happened? Why did we need to go there, we can ask. And he says our enemies were hiding in a church, to the best of our information. That's it. I'm not talking about this anymore. Your security clearance is crap tier right now. You have to wait for it to go up. He means it. The RCM and its enemies will not be discussed on this coast. Our clearance will not go up while we're within earshot of the Union headquarters. So, I work in the bloody murder station? Okay, it's not the bloody murder station, says Jean. It's an old converted silk mill with green desk lamps and a coffee corner. A lot of good people work there. Hard. Every day. Jamrock is the largest ghetto in Revachol, says Judith. Faubourg, technically, but it's divided into 11 districts. Jamrock only has us. The press will blow over, says Kim in a reassuring tone. Jamrock is lucky to have you, and it's often considered to be the greatest of the districts. You're lucky to have it. Thank you again, Lieutenant. Well, Lieutenant Kim, I don't know what we're going to do without him. I wish he would join District 41 because he seems to be this healing glue that is, well, primarily responsible for our own team allowing us back into it. New cigar. The phasmid. I need to tell Lena about this ASAP. Who is Lena? Well, she's a cryptozoologist. She lives in Jamrock on Tabernacle Road. She told me about this phasmid. Tabernacle, says Judith. It's on the way over, near to where you live, on Perdition. She looks at Vicamere. Fine. If we're gonna drop you off anyway. Kim says she and her husband were conducting the search for the phasmid. It's their discovery, in part. They should know as soon as possible. It would do you good to deliver some positive news for a change. She's going to be over the moon. Lieutenant Kitsuragi, what will you do now? Well, says Kim, first I will go back to my station and write the most detailed report anyone has ever seen. It will have to be good to cover all of this. Then I will have a serious talk with my captain. About what, we can ask. He pulls up his collar, looks around. The cold spring light reflected in the lenses of his glasses. Detective, we just stopped a small-scale war. Something is happening to Revachol. I don't know what yet, but it's going to be a hard spring for the RCM. We need to get ready. Infiltrate, investigate. You want to do that at Station 41? Talk to Captain Price? I'd rather not ruffle the feathers of two captains with my doom-mongering. No, we can say, I meant to investigate. Come work in Precinct 41. Work with Price, says Kim. A crooked smile quivers on his lips. I'm flattered, but I don't know if I would fit in. Am I crazy enough? Can I take the stress? He doesn't know how to finish the sentence. This truly came as a surprise to him. Not a bad one, but he's at a loss. Flattered, says Jean. You're Lieutenant Kitsuragi. We would be flattered if you even considered. The lieutenant turns very serious all of a sudden. I would have to tie things up in GRIH first, but, I mean, whatever is coming, Jamrock will be more central to it than the harbor. And we also have a huge caseload, Lieutenant, says Judith. And she says it with a smile. Piles that we need to get back to. Mountains, even. I do like the sound of that, says Kim. And he returns her smile. He's really considering it. All right. Maybe Kim can join our precinct. Well, I'm ready, we can say. Good. Judith looks at us, then at Vicamere. Screw it. Let's go, says Jean. The man points down the street. Trant brought his motor carriage. It's a 20-minute drive back to Jamrock. Under the evening sky, the great district turns on its lights. A chessboard of wooden houses, 80,000 living souls inside. Fire traps as far as the eye can see. From Main Street to Precinct 41, atop the motorway to Boogie Street, forking into the dark horizon. We close our eyes and hear the dogs bark. A lone woman sits by a factory window, dreaming of meteorite strikes. On Rue Saint Jerome, a square bullet slides into a square-shaped chamber. On Old South, a man without eyelids smiles. Spring has come. It's time. Torson? Yes. McLean? Yes. Hiddleston? No. Vicamere? Yes. Dubois? Of course. Really? Nix Gottlieb looks up from the list. I hear he's quite unstable. You say that like it's a bad thing, Captain. Tommy Price points his pen at the doctor. It's dim in his office, and the curtains are drawn. Harry's our man. He'll pull through, and when he does, he'll side with Revachol. Understood. Gottlieb returns to the list. Minot? Of course. Wonderful, says Judith Minot. The woman looks north. Then can we please just go back to Jamrock? Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being patient with me as my ISP suffered from throttling, apparently. I don't know why they would be throttling me. I'm going to have to give them a call after the broadcast, but thank you for sticking with me. I didn't expect this final broadcast of Disco Elysium to be as long as it ended up being. I thought we were really closer to the end than we were, but we really only went to 2 locations, and in that time it took us 3.5 hours to get through all of the dialogue and the entire story. So I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast now. I've got about 30 minutes left, but that's really not enough time to do anything in Red Dead Redemption 2, or any other game for that matter. So I'll use the time to work on my lore video for the weekend, as I need to. But there you go. That's the end of Disco Elysium. I hope you enjoyed it. I wonder if you'll get the game yourself. It's a replayable game. There's a lot to it. A very dense game, and it's so much fun. It's a refreshing change of pace to many of the single-player RPGs that I've played recently. For the rest of the week, tomorrow, Tuesday, we have Wasteland 3 at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Time. On Wednesday, Horizon Zero Dawn, 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Time, same time. Thursday, I'm off because it's Thanksgiving, so no broadcast on Thursday, no Wasteland 3, and no Scotch and Smoke Rings. But for Friday, we will do The Witcher 3 like we typically do. And then for the weekend, I definitely think I'll have a lore video ready for you. I've been working hard on it for the better part of a week and a half now. And I'm making great progress. It's going to cover absolutely everything in Vault 94. And it's quite a story. So I think you'll enjoy it. What's this? Anything after the credits? That's it. Well, there you go. That is Disco Elysium. We'll wrap this up with a nice red bow. Thanks again for coming to today's broadcast of Disco Elysium. I hope you have a wonderful rest to your Monday. Stay safe, everybody. Stay healthy. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, for a brand new live stream of Wasteland 3. Have a good one, everybody. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now.